What's going on? How's everybody doing? It's Kyle Henderson of Bama Football on YouTube. Can I get a roll tide inside the comment box? I appreciate you guys being here. Thank you so much for joining me on this fine Tuesday, December 12th, just a couple days away from the Rose Bowl practice. And I think when Alabama turns towards the Rose Bowl, there are so many storylines. Right now, we're talking a bunch of recruiting and all the news that is circulating Alabama football as we go into this early signing period, which will be next Wednesday. Coach Saban will be at the podium. What's up, Derek Dawson? I see you inside the comment box. Thanks for joining us early. Let me know where you guys are watching from inside the comment box. And why don't you guys put in an elephant emoji? I want to see how many we can get inside the comment box. And we're going to talk about early enrollees today. We're going to talk about JULIAN Sayin, kind of the impact that he is going to have on this class, in my opinion. We're going to talk about the 2024 schedule. Oklahoma, the date was announced for Alabama versus Oklahoma for next season. That'll be on November 23rd, I think, which would be pretty amazing as Alabama goes to Norman, Oklahoma to take on the Sooners in an SEC battle. And then the following week, I think it's going to be the Auburn Tigers. So next year's schedule, we're going to look at a glance as the schedule for next year starts to come together. We're going to talk about some All-Americans for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And then we have a couple of news and notes regarding the Alabama transfer portal. So Anquin Barnes, who's a defensive lineman, as you guys saw yesterday, entered the NCAA transfer portal. So Alabama now up to 5 players in the NCAA transfer portal. What's up, Layla? I see you coming in from Colorado. I appreciate you joining us. I don't know if you know, but I'm from New Mexico, so Colorado, a friendly neighbor up north. Such a beautiful state indeed, and used to operate a business actually out of Boulder, covered the Colorado Buffaloes. So to see kind of the transformation of that football program and to see what's going on with there is always exciting. All right, so I want to talk about the early enrollees, and as we look to the early enrollees, we'll just leave this graphic up for the time being when we're talking Crimson Tide headlines, and then I'll take your guys' calls as we navigate through the show. But as I always say, one of the best companies that I get information from, and when I talk to the best in the business is On3, and they do a great job talking about the early enrollees right now. And one of the things that really stands out to me about these early enrollees is, think about it from their perspective. These guys are able, remember the old days, like when you used to finish in May and then enroll in the summertime? Well, that doesn't necessarily exist anymore, especially for these elite recruits. So a lot of these guys will be signing early and then enrolling next week to be able to prepare with the Alabama Crimson Tide for bowl prep week as Alabama takes on Michigan. I'm unsure about a couple of things. Number one, this is the one thing that I know. These guys who do enroll early, they cannot participate in the bowl game. But I do think that they can travel with the team to Michigan. So that's pretty amazing. So can you imagine finishing up your high school football season and then enrolling in the University of Alabama and then getting to practice for the upcoming Rose Bowl? So if you want a full scope and kind of the fluidity of these moving parts, definitely check out On3, because they have a really good setup in terms of keeping track of the guys who are, early enrollees, and I'm sure they have some sign-up specials or whatever. So if we could show the graphic of the early enrollees and kind of break that down, because there's a lot of guys who are coming into this class that I think are going to be key contributors this next season. And it's always hard to put tabs on which particular early enrollees are going to play right away. I mean, this year, when you look to the early enrollees that came in during this season, you have Caleb Downs and Caden Proctor, and then eventually those guys are starters for Alabama. You have Caden Proctor at the tackle position. You've seen his transformation, and you also have Caleb Downs being one of the top freshmen in the entire country. I think when you zoom in and kind of look at this scope of the early enrollees, the names that really jump off to me is quarterback Julian Sayin. And Sayin coming to Alabama, and that's going to be the next point that I talk about as we cruise through Tuesday's show, is the fact that Julian Sayin is a 5-star quarterback coming into this class, and he's really helped this class develop and I think land some elite talent within this entire group. So when you look to this overall class that is coming in early, you have a lot of moving pieces, and I think along with Julian Sayin, a key component is Caleb Oden at the tight end position. Caleb Oden is a guy that I'm really excited about. I really like a tight end that you could split out, that it can be versatile. And I think that's really important today's world of college football is being able to be split out wide. And you have to be able to be athletic if you're a tight end. I do like possession type tight ends, and I understand the H-back position is different than a natural tight end or a wide position type tight end. But tight ends who can really get the football in space and make you miss, I think kind of that's the next wave of college football. And we've seen that over the last couple of years, and I think Caleb Oden is going to be that nice fit. I do like Amari Niblack right now, and I think that we're going to see a lot from him throughout this next game in the Rose Bowl and perhaps even in the national championship game. But getting guys like that to fulfill that tight end spot is really important. I've seen Odom make some impressive catches this past season, one-handed grabs. He's a big target, 6'4", so I think him and Julian Sayin, when you look down the road, are going to be really, quite the duo. Coach Saban visited with Julian Sayin. If we could actually put the photo of Julian Sayin and his family up on the screen, I'd like to talk about Julian Sayin just for a minute because Sayin comes in and he is absolutely a baller in every, mark of the word. I mean, 5-star point guard as quarterback, complete baller, great command of his offense throughout, the last couple of seasons. He has escapability that Bryce Young has, and I've talked about this before. I see a lot of similarities within their playing style, and I think it was so important for Alabama to land a player like Julian Sayin to their particular class because you have your 5-star quarterback, and that definitely means that, you're not done at the quarterback spot. And you come in with just a lot of momentum. He's been able to recruit a lot of guys. You saw that Ryan Williams announced his reclassification. He will sign on February 9th, by the way. That's what he told AL.com yesterday on their interview that they had on their YouTube channel. So, but you do have some really good wide receivers coming in, Rico Scott and then Amari Jefferson, who I'm really excited about. I think both of those guys can stretch the field. But what is going to happen to the quarterback position going forward? Right. Well, I think a lot of people thought that Jalen Milroe would leave after this season. Well, he's coming back, and that's not a bad thing by any stretch of the imagination. You have him come in, you have Julian Sayin get the reps, and you have those younger guys compete and get better against each other every single day. Dylan Lonergan, Ty Simpson, Julian Sayin, he's going to learn quickly the game, and it's up to him how fast he can process Tommy Rees's offense and the overall system and start working with the guys. Look, I have no idea who's going to be the number 2 quarterback next year, but the number 1 quarterback next year is going to be Jalen Milroe, who is actually now the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman Trophy for next season. I want to hear from you inside the comment box. What do you think about Julian Sayin coming in early? How excited are you about him coming to this class of 2024? And again, I'm going to take your calls, and I want to hear your take on this recruiting class and your thoughts about some of these Crimson Tide headlines that we're talking about today. So check this out, though. I was having fun with it. So if we zoom into this photo, you see that this is a really nice family photo. You got Saban, you got Julian Sayin, you got the nice Christmas tree and beautiful family, right? You zoom into the family and everything's nice and dandy, but everyone on social media is laughing because if you look to the left of the photo, what? So I have a question. Okay, so for I like Christmas movies just as the next. What Christmas movie were they watching over here? And then what does it say? Well then all your secrets. What does it say inside on the text? So it's like, what movie is this? What were they watching at the house? That is just funny. That cracked me up yesterday. But look, Coach Saban met with 3 California prospects yesterday. That was Julian Sayin, Peyton Woodyard, and Xavier Brown. All those guys, key targets for the Alabama Crimson Tide. And I love the fact that they're able to keep that connection with the West Coast, right? So important to, keep the West Coast connection, and you have your big quarterback coming in, just a couple years after Bryce Young leads the team. Actually, 1 season after Bryce Young has led the team. So, King, I was wondering what movie that was, but whatever the case is, Julian Sayin, that's a great family photo with the team. I will take your guys' calls now as we navigate through the show. Be sure to hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I'll be on every single day, Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. You can catch me. And then we have the Coaches Show, which is on Monday night and Wednesday night. And then next week, next Wednesday, Coach Saban will be talking to the media about this signing class. And there's still a lot of news and notes, and a lot of things are fluid as we go through this time. I mean, I'm sure that everybody saw Dylan Raiola, who is top quarterback in the country, committed to the Georgia Bulldogs, even moved to the state of Georgia to be the quarterback at Buford. And now it's looking like he could potentially flip to Nebraska. He's a Nebraska legacy. There's a lot of people who are up on the high recruiting totem pole that are talking about a flip now from Georgia to Nebraska. And I was thinking that's really interesting because you have potentially Dylan Raiola now going out to Nebraska, but I've also seen some forecasts for Kyle McCord, who's the quarterback at Ohio State, to transfer to Nebraska as well. And I was thinking about this. So their head football coach in Nebraska, Matt Rolls, just recently said that it costs, what, $2 million for a quarterback? So are they paying Kyle McCord $2 million and also having, an NIL deal for Dylan Raiola to come? Man, Nebraska's really jumped in the mix in terms of they want to win, right? And I think what hurts Nebraska so bad is that their biggest rival is Colorado, just to the south of them, and to see kind of all the notoriety and all the stuff that Colorado is getting, because Nebraska is like it. Look, I used to live in Iowa, and, met some really good people. There's not a lot to do up there. There's not a lot to do in Nebraska. And everybody is all in on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and, they want that program to win. Their quarterback situation has been a struggle for, the last several years. So I don't know, Kyle McCord and Dylan Raiola, that would certainly bolster that. All right, with that said, let's take some phone calls. I got a excuse me. We got a 256. Let's get it started. Hey, thanks for calling. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
This is Daryl from Huntsville.
What's up, Daryl? I appreciate you calling in, man.
Yes, sir. Any chance I get, I always like to hear good knowledge.
Well, welcome on in, man. We're talking kind of a variety of topics. You have a bunch of early enrollees coming in. I guess we start right there. How important is it to you, in your mind, to get a quarterback like Julian Sayin in, your five-star quarterback, get him enrolled early? What's your take on that?
Well, it's extremely important to enroll early so you can be tutored and get in on the system, understand the system, and be ingrained in the system, and just to be around the program and be familiar with what the coach is like, what the calls are in certain situations, and if he gets to travel with the team and listen in on it, be in the quarterback room and game plan during the bowl game, that's awesome. That just accelerates his ability to be what they say he's going to be.
Mm-hmm. I think it's really, I think as I was saying earlier, I mean, getting him in really solidifies that position that Nick Saban has continued to really develop, and that's the quarterback position. I mean, over the last couple years, you see the quarterbacks that have come through Alabama. I don't think it's hard to get a quarterback to Alabama. I know there's kind of a logjam for that next spot after Jalen Milroe, but that's what makes the position really good is competition. I think sometimes people shy away from competition, which is, in my opinion, soft. Competition makes every single product, makes everybody better. So just because there's and no matter where you go in the college football world at this level, Division I, II, Division III, you know what? People trip out. They think that you could just go to like a Division III or 1AA and just start automatically. Wrong, right? There's guys who know the system, who are better than you. And at this level, you don't think there's going to be somebody that's better than you? That's why it's so amazing that a player like Caleb Downs can be able to contribute and have 99 tackles going into the Rose Bowl. Like, that is like ridiculous. That stuff that's not real, right? Like, that stuff's crazy. So getting him in says a lot about this recruiting class and how important the quarterback position is. What else, Daryl, are you thinking when you kind of look to the early enrollees or kind of where we are in this time of year?
Well, this time of year is all about recruiting because they changed the recruiting dates that you could actually come in and sign, early recruiting. So it's all about recruiting. But also I want to talk about something else too.
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about the fact that one of the biggest hatchet jobs has been since in years is what they did to Will Riker.
Mm.
How in the world can you be the all-time kicker and have never been on a first All-American team?
Mm-hmm.
The year that the 2020, our last championship, he didn't miss a kick, and he still was not awarded the Luke Rosa Award.
Yeah,
man. So if you think this Alabama hate is not real, this is ridiculous. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. It's a crime.
Mm-hmm.
And the 24-20 schedule, I don't know if I like us playing Auburn early in the season. I don't know if I like that, but might take some getting used to. But I always like Auburn as the last game. I think it builds up the game and makes it what it is. But everything changes. I understand that. And the All-Americans, I was glad to see that they after we got snubbed again from the award ceremony, that the three guys, the three defensive players, made first team All-American, and I was glad to see that. And of course, there's about 3 or 4 other teams that come out that will maybe Latham will get in on one of those teams as the first teamer. But the guys, the early enrollees, they're doing themselves a favor. It's something they will never regret, because you cannot underestimate. You're going from high school to college. You're going to another level of competition. I'm like you. If you don't want to compete, you're weak.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I agree 100% with you.
100%. I mean, you got to be able to come in and compete against the best every single day. That's why I like kind of the mentality of some of these guys that aren't afraid to come in here, and they turn away kind of that short-term money for the longer play. And the longer play is playing against competition every single day. As Jarvis said, iron sharpens iron 100%. When you come here to Alabama, you're going to go against the best every single day. And I like that fact. I mean, so whether you're a wide receiver or offensive lineman, I mean, you look to kind of like, if you're an offensive lineman, I said this when I was talking about Jordan Seaton, I get it. You got to go to Colorado because you have an opportunity to start. But for other offensive linemen that are coming in, they get an opportunity to go against Keon Keeley and Yanze Pierre, 2 young and rising outside edge rushers that are going to battle you every single day, right? So if you're a player like Casey Poe or Joseph Aina, Will Sanders, you're coming in and you're the top of your class, right? At the high school level, you're a 4-star, 3-star, whatever. You come in and you're like, Keon Keeley's like, nice to meet you. I'm going to go against you every single day. And you're just like,
every day.
But the practices are harder than the games, and rightfully so. And that's why these guys are able to contribute at such a high level come Saturday. Anything else, Daryl, while I got you on the show?
Yeah, I'll just comment on the practice harder than the game. You're exactly right. I heard DJ Fluker say that when he got to the pros, he was shocked that the practices that they had in Alabama were far more intense and harder than they had in the pros.
Yeah.
And so if you don't want to compete, if you don't want to be the best of the best, then go somewhere else.
Yep.
But if you come to Alabama, nothing's given and everything is earned. Yep. Kyle, you're the man, and it's always my pleasure to speak to you.
All right, man. I appreciate it. Thank you, Daryl. I appreciate you leading off the show, man. All right, Daryl calling in, leading off the show. Good. He's a good leadoff batter. Let's actually put Alabama's 2024 schedule up on the screen. I got a 720, 520, 601, and a 404, and then I got Demetrius on the back end. So here's Alabama's schedule for the 2024 season, starting to come together nicely when we look at this particular schedule. And as you can see, Alabama will open up against the Hilltoppers from Western Kentucky, and then South Florida, they will come up to Alabama. That was one of the series where it was a 1-1 outside of conference, so they are coming up here from Tampa. And then you go to Wisconsin. That's up in Madison, Wisconsin. Has Alabama ever went to Wisconsin? Where's our historians at inside the comment box. That's going to be an interesting one going up against the Wisconsin Badgers at Camp Randall. You know, Wisconsin's kind of been one of those teams from the Big Ten, kind of boring football, you know, kind of stuck in the mud, but, you know, with decent defense. But I'm sure going up there will present its challenges. Tough road game early on in the season. And then you have Georgia. So think about that. You're going from Wisconsin. There probably is a game there in the middle because there's a couple games that we don't have the full dates on. So this schedule is just kind of the dates that we have. But there's going to be, of course, games kind of, you know, I believe there is a game on September 21st. I just don't know who that is going to be. But you do have Georgia right there on September 28th, and that game is going to be in Tuscaloosa, another opportunity for Kirby Smart and Nick Saban to go head-to-head. And then that third Saturday in October, they kept that the same. And then you have LSU. So, man, this is a really good schedule for Alabama. And then you have Mercer right there on November 16th, and then you take on Oklahoma in Norman. Check that out. This is crazy from the back-to-back perspective. So you go to Norman, and you play the Oklahoma Sooners, and then you fly back and you get ready for Auburn. Woo! Wow, that is quite the schedule for Alabama next season. And those, you know, remember, I do like when you start off with a bigger caliber opponent, but you know. Western Kentucky, I mean, that's kind of, you know, the way it is. But, man, traveling to Wisconsin and Norman in the same year, definitely going to be tough for Alabama. Then having Georgia, going to LSU as well, going to Tennessee, that's going to be a fun schedule for sure. All right, let's take our next call from 720. Hey, I appreciate you calling in. Thanks for calling in this morning. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, it's Rob in Colorado.
Hey, what's up, Rob? It's been a minute, man. I appreciate you calling in. Hope all is well, man.
Man, I wanted to call in and support.
Did we lose you, Rob?
Hello?
Yeah, Rob, you're there, man.
No, I'm here.
You're on the mic,
I'm
man.
here.
So
yeah, man, yeah. And, I've been trying to call in and everything, but you're very popular. But I'm glad you're popular. You know, we all love you. We all support you. But yeah, I definitely wanted to call in, man. These Michigan fans are kind of crazy, bro. They act like Georgia, TCU, and Alabama don't literally own them. Like they pay us rent, and it wasn't that long ago TCU smacked them up. So they're just acting like they got the best line, the best offense, the best quarterback. No one's heard of any of their wide receivers, but they got the best wide receivers, and I'm kind of hyped because I've been going at them, you know, since we got selected, since they all cried and that video went viral.
Yeah, I think the thing with the Rose Bowl matchup and you know, clearly Michigan wasn't excited to draw Alabama, and who would be? I mean, this is a complete buzzsaw team that's playing at a very high level. They don't necessarily match up too well, and I think the thing is with Jalen Milroe, I mean, how is Michigan going to have a game plan to stop Milroe? How is anybody going to have a game plan to stop Jalen Milroe right now the way he's playing? Alabama's offense has proven that they can put points on the board. Their defense has proven that they can stop the run. So I think it's going to be difficult for Michigan to get a ground game going, and J.J. McCarthy's certainly going to have his hands full with Alabama's defense. So what else do you like about, you know, the Michigan-Alabama matchup for Alabama?
There's two things I really like. The first thing, Alabama is peaking. They're peaking at the right time. I don't know if Nick Saban is this mastermind and just did everything a certain way to get us peaking right now when we need to be peaking, when we have two big games coming up. We have a big game coming up. So Texas got lucky. They got us early. You got to get us early. You know, you had two critical freshmen, Downs and Proctor, and, you know, it showed. These guys are coached up. They're veteraned up. So you really can't get them now because they've seen everything. And I think Michigan's schedule is going to hurt them.
Yes.
Because you got to turn up. Now you have to turn up because you go from playing Iowa, okay, who hasn't heard of the word offense. Literally, they don't know what offense is. And then you have to turn up and you got to play Bama,
Yep.
And if you look at Bama, we may not have always had the best quarterback play. You know, we had Mac Jones, we had Tua, Jalen Hurts turned up in his third year. But Kyle, what makes up for average QB play? 5-star athlete, NFL, wide receivers.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't seen, and when you play teams like, okay, yeah, Ohio State's a good team. They are a good team, but they didn't adjust well in that game. And who is Ohio State beating? Penn State,
Yep.
Notre Dame.
Yep. Yep.
And I love that comment you made. You said no. You said Notre Dame after their third loss, they're going to get one more loss, and they're going to still be ranked.
Dude, yeah, and they were it's crazy. Like even I watch what will happen. So Sam Hartman, I'm sure you guys saw that. He announced that he's going to opt out of the Sun Bowl, right? So he's not playing for Notre Dame. So Notre Dame is going to play Oregon State. That game is going to go into like triple overtime down in beautiful El Paso, Texas. And Notre Dame is going to somehow win. And or even if they lose, Notre Dame will be like 25th. Notre Dame has to lose like 6 games to not be ranked. Whatever the reason is, like the pollers, like they see Notre Dame and they're just like, nah, they're good enough. They're not. They're like Notre Dame is a 20 to 30 type team. I've never bought into the hype. I wasn't buying into the hype at the beginning of this season when people were trying to push on Notre Dame. It's just different. It's not an elite program. It's a good program, but it's not elite by any stretch of the imagination. And same thing in that Curtis is saying inside the comment box. FSU, same boat. FSU and Notre Dame, like those two teams, we knew that they were going to be pretenders and they weren't going to have a seat at the playoff table. I'm glad that the committee did the right thing. I know Florida State's upset because they won all their games, but the ACC is terrible. The ACC is not a good conference. Florida State needs to get out of there. They need to prove that they can punch above their weight continually at a high level. The ACC just isn't it, and I know those guys are pissed off about playing in the Orange Bowl, but they better be come with it because Georgia is not from the ACC. Georgia is not from the Big Ten. Georgia's from the SEC. They've won their last 29 or 30 games, and I don't know. I mean, if I'm Kirby Smart, I'm looking to send a message. I'm looking to keep the program on the rails, and I think that Georgia's going to have their way with Florida State, but I guess we'll see in the Orange Bowl. What else you got, Rob?
Yeah, Georgia's in the Orange Bowl. They have a great bowl. You brought up the ACC. You know, that's the real sad thing about Michigan. The Florida State played a tougher schedule. I mean, at least in just like Bama, LSU, they got early by FSU.
Yeah.
But Michigan didn't have to deal with Daniels, with the Heisman Trophy winner. I mean, dealing with him would have at least shown them a resemblance of Milroe so they could kind of tune up for a running quarterback. But I don't know, man. After we smoke Michigan, Harbaugh is going to have to go to Walmart and get like some new khakis because they're going to have grass stains on them, Gatorade stains, but not from getting the win.
I was just going to ask you about this, Rob. So, okay, the reason Rob said that about his khakis being from Walmart is because that's a true story. Jim Harbaugh, he's a different cat. We all know that. But he only wears khakis that are from Walmart, like this specific kind. So that's why I said it, you know. And I've always thought about it. I was like, that is so strange. That not that to shop at Walmart, but to get like specific khakis from Walmart. I thought that was kind of strange for whatever reason. But
that is strange,
right? Like,
that is strange.
He's a different guy.
I think him and Bill Gates hang out and they get too close.
And the thing about, look, Jim Harbaugh too. I mean, there's always some sort of a witch hunt for him at the beginning of the season. It was this, it was that. But I think for whatever reason, his personality kind of brings that on. I know Michigan is looking to give him a major deal to be the head coach for a long time for Michigan. I don't know if that's going to go down because there's going to be a clause in that says that you can't look to be a coach in the NFL. I don't know if that's something that Jim Harbaugh wants to do. It seems like it kind of does. You look at the success that his brother's having at Baltimore, continued success. The Ravens are no joke. I mean, ever since how long has John Harbaugh been at Baltimore? For like a decade?
It's like 12 years.
That's what I'm saying.
At least.
Yes, exactly. And who's the better coach? Probably John, right?
Yes, John. I would take John.
For sure. Whatever the case is, I think they'll have their hands full with Alabama. I mean, look, they have a really good defense, and I've been talking about that every time I have a show. They do have a good defense, and Gelato said it's been 12 years for the head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, which is incredible for a head coach to be tenured that long at the highest level. What about the Rob? Before I let you go, man, give me your take on the Sugar Bowl. Who do you like? Texas, Washington? What's your take on that one?
That's what I wanted to bring up because you're leaning on Texas. I think just like Michigan, I think playing Texas Tech and playing Oklahoma State hurt Texas, as in because like I said, they really gotta have to. Ones go against ones in practice and everything, but you're gonna have to just raise your level to go up against Washington. And I'm telling you, man, you're going from Oklahoma State. See, Bama played Georgia. See, we already went up against the O-line. That whole O-line is probably going to be in the NFL. That whole D-line is probably going to be in the NFL. Maybe they don't have the linebacker play they had with Smith. I think Nolan Smith, or I think that was his name years ago. They had some elite linebackers. But, yeah, I think Washington might get them, or it's going to come down to the wire. But because Texas got them boys up front.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's gonna be quite like you think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a close game, and I think Lawson is gonna ball out. I think our linebackers are gonna ball out against Michigan, and I think this might be, y'all. You guys check this out. This might be Michigan State 2015. It might be. Because you can't play competition like that. And then think you got to line up against me. We got some athletes, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We got some wide receivers that's going to burn anybody. You had to get us early. You couldn't get us early, just like the coaches show. I think Coach Sean, blame Ole Miss because they had us.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss had us. That was the last team. These silly Michigan fans keep bringing up USF. We beat them by 14. Yeah, it was an ugly game. We beat them by 14. Be quiet. Okay? Ole Miss had us.
Yep.
We were at home. That helped a lot. They had us, but we got by them. Now these guys are too coached up. They're locked in. They're in cement. We in cement. You're not gonna move us.
Yep.
It's too late. It's over.
All right, Rob. Well, I appreciate you calling in, man. It's good to rap with you. It's been a little bit of time, man. So I appreciate you calling in, man, and call back into the show. I always appreciate hearing from you, man.
Kyle, much love. I'm going to keep listening, keep supporting you. I'm going to stay a member. And God is good. Have a nice day.
All right, man. Take it easy. All right, Rob calling in from Colorado. Appreciate it. We got a 520-601-404. And Demetrius coming up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys joining the show and being a member of our YouTube channel. Become a fan funder. Go up to the top and hit the join button. It's next to the subscribe button. If you're on your phone, you can scroll up. There's a hyperlink as low as $2.99 a month. Of course, appreciate the super chats and all the help to help me get out to the Rose Bowl and then to Houston. I was kind of going over, the budget, the travel budget. So it's crazy. So check this out. Like, I'm sending myself out to the Rose Bowl, and this is a rare year because usually you have Alabama and you hope kind of for the Sugar Bowl, so you could drive to New Orleans and then kind of drive back. And I'd probably fly, if they were to make it to Houston, then I'd fly to Houston. But for this particular year, I'm like, man, I got to go to the Rose Bowl, stay out there. And then you have kind of this gap if they win to be able to go to Houston, right? So that's kind of how it is covering the Alabama Crimson Tide. And this year, I mean, more than any year, I mean, it's just been what a ride it's been because I think there's been so much doubt about this particular team, and to see them having a shot to win the whole thing, which would be incredible. There's been talk, on social media. I think Peter Burns brought it up. He didn't say that Nick Saban was going to retire, but he said, can you imagine if he's able to kind of end this revenge tour against, let's say, Texas, and then kind of ride off into the sunset? And, it's interesting to hear from a lot of these people with bigger platforms that aren't in Tuscaloosa. I mean, truth be told, I don't live far from Coach Saban at all. Probably about maybe a mile, right? He lives up here. And, I see him. I don't see him frequently. Like, I see him more actually at campus than I do, like, in the area. Because, I mean, he's working 12-hour days. I'm working a ton, whatever. But I don't think Saban's going anywhere. As long as he's in good health. By the way, he looks amazing. Miss Terry looks amazing. And I think that if he can continue to recruit and contribute at a high level, which he's doing, and he's enjoying coaching, I get it. He's tired. Who isn't tired after this season? I'm tired. And so, look, his contract goes for, quite a good time. And I know people, are like, well, he bought a house down in Jupiter, Florida. Yeah, he also bought a Ferrari. He can do whatever he wants, and he's a multimillionaire. But he still enjoys coaching. And what else is he going to do? Right? He can be, what is he going to do? Go and lead, be an organizational leader for like Mercedes or whatever? Like, he needs that competitive drive. That's what keeps him going. So I think if you're out there and you've thought about it, rest assured, I don't think Saban's going anywhere. And I think, and this was crazy, last year, I think I said this last year, and I haven't brought this up this year. I have to go back. I don't even know, I've done so many videos, but somebody told me this, and this was crazy. I'll get to my next callers in just a second. But somebody told me that Saban was about to go on like this epic run. Like, and this was like last year. And they're like, despite what he's done in his career, like this is about to be the best coaching that he's done. And if you've been a subscriber for a while, you've heard me talk about that before, like last year. And to see what he was able to, this person might be right. Because think about it. What if he wins the title this year? This amazing job, and then next year, that team's going to be crazy good. I get it. Their schedule is going to be really difficult. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if Saban continues this run. I mean, it could start. Can you imagine if they win this year? He starts to look at next year with all the components coming back. A 12-team playoff. It's going to be hard to keep Alabama out of the playoffs then, right? If you thought it was hard to keep them out now, just wait till next year and the year after and the year after that. 12 teams? Are you kidding me? Yeah, David's saying Joe Pa was 86. All right, 520. Let's do it. Yeah, I appreciate you being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from? Hello, 520. You're on the line. Hello? Hello? All right, I'm going to return you to the call queue. I'm not sure what happened. 520, you still there? We dropped it. All right, 601. Hey, you're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Thanks for calling in. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
How's it going, Kyle? It's Jay from Pensacola.
Hey, what's up, Jay? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show, man. Take it away.
Yeah, my throat been swollen the last a week and a half, so I ain't been able to call in. But I want to come in on your thoughts on Texas and Washington. I don't know if you know, but Washington was considered the underdog in 3 of their games, and they won all 3 of the games. I feel like we need to take that into consideration about them being an underdog in this game as well. Mm-hmm. And I feel like Washington is going to take it, in my opinion, against Texas. I think the last caller said this is going to be a close game, but I think Washington's going to take it.
Yeah, I mean, look, they were an underdog against Oregon State, and they were an underdog against Oregon. And was there somebody else? I don't know. So they've been the underdog, I know, 2 times for sure. Alabama's been the underdog a few times this year as well. I think that with Washington in Texas, when we're talking about the Sugar Bowl, I think that let me ask you guys inside chat, who will win between Washington or Texas? Type T for Texas and type W for Washington inside the chat right now. For me, I think that the matchup, while it looks good for offense versus offense, the difference will be I don't think that Washington will be able to stop Texas defense whatsoever. They have the number 91 ranked defense, and Steve Sarkisian, man, having this amount of time to cook, man, I can't even imagine what he's going to do. He's a great play caller, and I think their execution and them kind of having this chip on their shoulder, because Texas is they're pissed off. Like, they want to prove that they can get to the title. They want to prove that they are here. They want to prove that they can have long-standing success. Now, getting there one time is great. Getting the playoffs one time is great. This is their first 10-win season since 2009. Since 2009. Think about that. So, consistent over a course of time is something that Steve Sarkisian is going to have to show next year. But for right now, I certainly think that Steve Sarkisian has it going. And that's why I'm taking Texas. And I think Texas wins by 14 points, to be honest. I'm pretty confident about that, but I know a lot of people have respect for Washington's offense. Michael Penix Jr. is a great quarterback, and the things that they've done this year, they have some elite wide receivers. I'm just not really buying the Pac-12 defense, none of them, to be honest. So that's kind of my take, and I think that that Texas defense is a lot better than people give them credit for. We saw that back in week 2. I know they're a different team now, but that defensive line was pretty ferocious, and their secondary was legit. What else you got, Jay?
A lot of you know, I live in Pensacola, but a lot of Florida State fans are getting upset because Alabama made it about their big ball. But I gotta tell them, and I tell them again, I tell them once out. Even if Georgia would have beat us, they put Texas above y'all too.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it would have been left out regardless, whether it been us or Georgia.
Yes.
They were gonna put Georgia above y'all. They're gonna put Texas above y'all.
Yep.
So regardless of anything, y'all gonna be out.
Yep.
But I feel like that game against Michigan. I went to Michigan last week. I had I always wear my Alabama gear and wherever I go. But that was very big on a few guys admitted it. They said I don't think we're gonna be Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
I straight up tell them I agree with y'all 100% because y'all not gonna be Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, brother. Have a good one. I just feel like this is our year, and I agree with you and about you said about the last caller. This could be another. This could be another run for Nick Saban. Like we have a strong possibility of winning back to back national championship.
Yep.
And this would be the only head coach in history to win back to back seasons in history.
Well, I don't know about that. I think there's been some back-to-back. I mean, Kirby just won back-to-back titles. He was going for 3. But I get what you're saying about, Florida State and the fact that they felt left out, and we've talked enough about that, and they're pissed off, and, there was kind of some smoke that they weren't going to participate in the Orange Bowl. I don't think that was ever the case. I'm sure that they're just upset, but think about it from their perspective. I mean, what an opportunity to go and beat Georgia, and if they're able to beat Georgia, then you finish 14-0 on the season, and that's an amazing season that you had, and you build on that to next year. And what Mike Norvell has been able to do, I don't think Mike Norvell is there for just this particular season, right? Like, show continued consistency, right? And if Florida State's able to do that again and again and again, good for them. And they'll have other opportunities. But look, Alabama was left out last year when they lost by 2 games by a total of 4 points. Sometimes you're just not the best 4 teams. Florida State, I think there's a large majority of people out there that feel that they weren't a top 4 team. And you're right, Georgia would have been over them as well. The playoff design was meant to fail the 4 team. It failed a lot of teams. I'm sure Jimbo Fisher, many years ago felt that he should have been had a top 4 team, but that's the way it goes. Now we move to the 12 team, so more teams are going to get into the playoffs, and more SEC teams are going to get into the playoffs, and people are really going to be upset about that, right? Because you're probably going to have if this was the 12 team year, you would have had Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, Missouri making the playoffs. It's 4 teams out of the 12. Jay, anything else, man, before I move to my next caller?
I just say, man, I just called to get my little input, my little 2 cents in. I appreciate you, Kyle, and I always see the show. I became a fan funder, and I always could support you, man. I appreciate you.
All right, man. Take it easy, man. Appreciate you, Jay. All right, Jay calling in from Pensacola. I appreciate it. Thanks for calling in. I see a lot of feedback regarding the Washington and Texas game and the fact that Washington did beat Texas last year. I get it. Washington, a very good team, and I think them beating Oregon twice was certainly impressive. And I think that they're probably a team that feels that they're the underdog, even though they are undefeated. So, we'll see. I think it's going to be a great game. I can't wait to see it. I just think that Texas is kind of a buzzsaw right now. Same thing with Alabama. And yes, I am hoping for an Alabama and Texas rematch. I think that would be fantastic content to cover. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And I love the fact that the game is in Texas, because that would be a storyline. And now I'm talking Rat Poison. as I talk about Alabama even beating Michigan and then getting to Texas and meeting Texas in Houston. Jalen Milroe's from that area, Katie. So there's a lot of storylines that I could dream up of. But first things first, they have to beat Michigan, and Texas has to beat Washington. We're in the playoffs. There's a lot of time to prepare for the playoffs. It's going to be very challenging for each team. All right, we go back to the phone lines. Let's get Demetrius on. All right, Demetrius, I appreciate you calling, man. Welcome to the show. Take it away.
The man to playing Kyle. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide to you, man. I appreciate you being here.
Hey, I enjoy calling in, listen to the show, listen to everybody. Very, very interesting points that everybody brought up. But a little funny story. I'm out here. Went down here to Savannah, Georgia to deliver a load, and I stopped by and hollered at the it's a trucking company, and stopped by and hollered at them, and got friendly with one of the couple of guys at this particular trucking company, and they they Georgia. They had knew that I was coming out there I told you this was gonna happen. I told you once Coach Saban get on the road now, different coaching staff, y'all just don't know the inner dynamics. I mean, they wouldn't let me in the gate. But back to the topic at hand. This is gonna be I'm excited. I'm excited for the rest of this year. Going up against Michigan. I'm excited, to see. I'm hoping all these recruits see that, the common denominator in all this is Nick Saban. I mean, he's a man that you want to go play for. And I'm back and forth on in the barbershop with Deion Sanders and this is look, X's and O's. That's what this boiled down to.
Mm-hmm.
Nowhere you can have all the gold jackets you want to. All the recruits can go there if they want to. X's and O's. I'd rather take a Nick Saban with some scrubs to go up against anybody with all the talent in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I know at the end of the day, Coach Saban gonna come up with something to neutralize and defeat all that talent.
Yep.
Call X's and O's. This ain't no hype. This ain't no hype show.
Yep.
You want to come somewhere. You want to come somewhere. And you want to develop. You want to compete. Mm-hmm. You know where to go. Mm-hmm. You want to go somewhere for a fashion show. You know where to go. I mean, I done been to Colorado. I mean, it's nice out there, nostalgic, nice to look at, but hey, I mean, at least you can get some good food down south there. I mean, hey. But and another thing, Kyle, this NIL, all these recruits and stuff. It's the wild, wild west. I'm just curious to see the recruits that did get the NIL to go to these schools like the Texas A&M. They buying off all these players, and you ain't getting the recognition like you should have because, hey, I've got the NIL money, but my career ain't going nowhere. I ain't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at a losing school because X's and O's really do matter. Mm-hmm. Development do matter. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to benefit out. It's like Coach Saban said. It's going to benefit the rich. Going to get richer, and it's going to benefit a program like Alabama because a lot of people want to come there after they go to some other school I can go to Alabama and perform and get my like Jamison Williams and get thrusted into a first round pick.
Yeah.
And how can I say it? I went up to these Michigan fans. I mean, they shook. We got them shaking in the boots. I don't know why. Just come on out here and play the game. I mean, you got to hear from all this. You got to hear all this hoopla about all this Florida State people. I'm like, y'all, is the whole United States one? It's everything's a conspiracy theories from the referees to the ESPN and to, I mean, look, you're mediocre at best. I mean, your best bet is to stay over in that ACC conference and compete with Clemson because Clemson Dabo Swinney have no problem staying over in the ACC, that cupcake, and then making it to the national championship. Mm. And then, he has no problem with that. He has no problem. Your best bet is stay in the ACC and dominate Clemson to make a name for yourself. Mm-hmm. Versus you trying to jump to, because You try to jump. You want to like Hector told Smokey. You want to smoke with the big boys in Friday. You see what happened to Smokey? He ended up in Debo's chicken coop. You want to come over here to the SEC? I mean, we'll be more than glad. Greg Sankey be more than glad to trade you. You know, a Vanderbilt for y'all to come over here. Just more money for the SEC. I mean, everybody gonna be mooching off Alabama anyway, because hey, we gonna be the primary team, gonna win everything. So, hey, I'm excited, you know, to see the. I had my, you know, I had family members in college football. I know what it is for them to get criticized. I never will criticize a player, you know, a little constructive criticism. I still, to this day, I wish Jalen Monroe could throw somebody open, hit his first read, because they are open. But a lot of years past, this would have bit Bama in our derriere. This time around, Coach Saban, hey, we're going to come up with a game plan. Just don't make no mistakes, and we'll win the game.
Yep. All right,
I mean, that's what happened.
Demetrius, I got to run to my next caller, man. But I appreciate you calling in, man.
Okay, go ahead.
It's always good to rap with you. I appreciate you being patient. I know you waited on the line for a little bit, man. Be safe making your deliveries, man. And when you're up in Michigan, you know, call back next time and let us know what they're telling you, because I think you're right. Like your point about Michigan fans being worried about this Alabama game, I think you're right. I mean, just the reaction overall from Michigan, I think, said a lot. But I appreciate you, Demetrius, and we'll catch up with you next time, man.
All right, roll tide, Cat.
Roll tide to you, man. Take it easy. All right, we got a 404-470-256 coming up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. If you guys give me a thumbs up on this video, I appreciate you guys watching, and thanks for supporting the coaches last night. You know, Coach Smoot, Coach Sean, Coach Jarek do a really good job right here at Bama Football on YouTube. I love the fact that those guys have been able to, you know, come onto the YouTube channel this year, along with Ty Hayes from Around the Sports table. Him and I will be on Wednesday. Quick programming note, if you guys have been watching the show regularly at 9, next week I will be in New Mexico the entire week, but I will still be live. That's probably coming to you from my mom's house at Santa Fe, New Mexico. The kids love to go see their grandma, so can't wait to get out to Santa Fe, New Mexico. That'll be next week. And then on the back end, I think I'm leaving to the Rose Bowl on like the 27th or something like that. So every year for the Christmas holidays, I get to go back to New Mexico maybe like once a year, or if I can swing it in the summertime, that's when I go back to New Mexico and see all my family. It's a busy time because you never know where Alabama's going to end up or where they're going to go. You know, so looking forward to getting out west for sure. All right, we go to our next caller, and it's a 404. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, morning, Kyle. This is Al from Behind Enemy Lines.
Hey, what's up? What's up?
How you doing, bro?
I appreciate you calling in, man. Good morning to you. Thank you very much for joining the show, man. Welcome on in and take it away.
Yeah, I'm always on, Kyle. You know that, man. Love your show. Hey, just a couple of things. You know, we kind of talking about a lot of things. You know, I've been kind of breaking Michigan down, man. You know, and like on the coaches show last night, man. One thing that I think that with Michigan, Kyle, I look at these guys. They kind of look like us in terms of the character they team, basically, because they solid. You know, they just solid. They're not spectacular at anything. They're just very sound and well coached up and things like that, you know. So, and frankly, you know, I look at what they're going to do up front, you know, with their line. They got a month to fix that. So because they're so technical what they do up front, I think they're going to fix a lot of that and be real sound in what they do. They're not going to try to get out of character because that's the worst they need to do, right? Overcoach it. So I think up front, offensively speaking, you know, I think they're going to fix a lot of things as far as how they want to block us. On the other side of the ball, they rotate 5 guys in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
They constantly rotate 5 guys. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, and they are solid.
Yep.
And then on the edge, they rotate 4 guys. They don't have no Harold 5 pass rushes like we do. But these guys are sound, man. You know, so I'm going to love how we're going to prepare for them, because I think when you got 2 teams that are very sound in what they do on both sides of the ball, it comes down to matchups and playmakers. And that's what we got the edge on both sides of the ball, you know. So I like us against them, and that's coach talk. you know, we get into it on the coaches show on the chat with Smoke and those guys. I love those guys, man. You know, but that's my feel on Michigan. I think we take them, but I think a lot of our fan base probably looks at them and underestimate them because they're just so slow and trudging. I mean, 18 yards against Iowa in the first half rushing. Come on, man. Mm-hmm. You know, that sucks. But I think they got time to fix some of that. But we take them. We take them. And as long as we don't turn the ball over, we take them because we got playmakers. And we match up well, you know. That's my take on Michigan. You know,
I think. Look, the Big Ten, the big and slow, with a good defense, and I think their quarterback is probably going to be better than people anticipate. I think, like all quarterbacks at this level, by this time of year, they're playing at a higher level. And Jim Harbaugh, he needs somewhat of a statement game, in my opinion. I mean, it looks like he can kind of do whatever he wants at Michigan. But to continue to bolster his career, I mean, he'd love to beat Nick Saban. Who wouldn't? The last time I saw Michigan and Alabama play, I was down at the Citrus Bowl. It wasn't anything overly creative from Michigan, and Alabama had their way with them from the jump. They attacked Michigan over the top right from the get-go, and I think that's probably something that Alabama is going to try to do to start off this game in a game of momentum. In a game out west, you know, which is, you know, it's the Rose Bowl, you know, and just as Jim Harbaugh said, it's iconic going out there and getting to play Alabama. And someone said in his press conference, he is a little bit odd. The way that he says different things, it just kind of comes off odd, but he's, you know, I mean, they're here for a reason. And it's kind of been interesting to see how the whole sign stealing has completely floated away. Like nobody's talking about that anymore. And what a great, whoever came up with that 3-game suspension, like from the PR standpoint, was a genius, because they're like, here's what we can do. Let's give him a 3-game suspension. We don't even know what for. We'll fire an assistant coach who claims he didn't even have anything to do with anything. So we'll fire somebody else. We'll give him a 3-game suspension, and then we'll just sit back. And literally, it worked like a charm, because you know what? The best thing to happen for the sign stealing is Florida State taking the headlines and trying to like sue the committee. Because what that did was that took over the entire world of college football, and now the sign stealing. Did we forget about that, or what? No. What happened? I get it, there were allegations, but why did that story go away? I'm just, you know, it'd be interesting to, you know, hear when we talk about when we get closer, when we start to hear from Jim Harbaugh again and Coach Saban in their press conferences when we lead up to the Rose Bowl, if they'll say anything about that. But that was a great PR move. Let's you know, take him away for these 3 games, and now it disappeared.
It's pure genius, man. Michigan, I give them credit for that one. You know, they're ahead of the game on that one. I don't know, man. I'm just a football geek. Been around the game a long time, Kyle. I love chopping it up with you on the show. And but you know, I think one call that got Jordan from Colorado. He had some good points too. But one thing, though, I'm still a little. For me, man, I watched a lot of our tape and cut it up. But one thing I thought that we would get exploited by with Georgia, they kind of did. We dropped Milroe back to the same spot. His landmark is the same spot. He just drops back on the gun 3-step, and he looks. We never move the pocket. So everybody knows exactly where he's going to be. And so with Michigan, man, I look at them guys. They got some real intricate stunts inside. They are really going to try to influence him to go to his left. I thought that's what Georgia would do. Because once Milroe goes to his left, he rarely throws the football. Rarely. So I thought Reese would actually change the picture on him, move the pocket, sort of move the defense in the back end, and gets him on the edge where he can apply some pressure. So now they're a 2-way go. They're wrong either way.
Yeah.
And that just opens up some holes for Milroe, cuts the field down for him, because one of the things I noticed about Jalen, where he has to go, because I coached QBs a long time, is that I'm not sure why they're not telling him to go high-low on some of his reads, man, because some of that underneath stuff is there. Like Burton was open in the end zone when he threw it out the back corner over there. He was wide open. So I think this is next up loose for Jalen. I think between his time and his shutdown time, he's going to look at some of that. They're going to coach it up and go back and self-scout and say, hey, look, here, when they give you this look, it's not there, take it down, move the chain, you know, or move your feet, that kind of thing. And, you know, so really excited about what's going on. But One thing that you made me laugh the other day when you put that short out there, Cedric.
Well, I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask you, Alan. Your film assessment, when you're watching Alabama's offense, what have you seen from Seth at the center position? Have you seen? Well, I mean, in terms of blocking, kind of being that the leader from the center position. I know people are like, well, he's a leader. Well, usually the center is kind of the leader of that unit. Maybe he's not the center of this team because you have J.C. Latham, Tyler Booker, who look like the absolute leaders. But what have you seen from Seth and kind of his transformation? Because for his shortcomings, whatever he has, he worked on the bad snaps. And honestly, for whatever reason, he plays pretty well against Georgia, and he's an undersized center, in my opinion. You look to the guys in the past that have been the center at Alabama, Landon Dickerson, Ross Pierce-Baker, Bradley Bozeman, all those guys were much larger than Seth. I think Seth is he's undersized, in my opinion. Sometimes that makes me nervous when going up against a Michigan or someone, as you said, that has an interior rush and come up with defensive stunts to come up the middle. But what have you seen from Seth kind of watching tape on him, if you've seen him?
Yeah, I have, and he just pressed the button for me because, I've been always a proponent. You always see me chiming in and say, we should do the Landon Dickerson thing with T. Ferg and move him over in the middle.
Yes.
Case closed, game over.
100%. Yes.
But my assessment, I'm gonna say that, Kyle, till I'm blue in the face and I'm black. But my assessment.
I've been wondering the same thing before you tell me about Seth. I just been wondering because Darian Dalcourt wasn't it, right? And then when they kept Seth there and he kept on messing up the snaps and the snap count or whatever, I was like, okay, what happened to TJ? Because in my opinion, a dream setup would be TJ at the center spot, and then you're anchored by Jaden Roberts, Tyler Booker, Caden Proctor on this side, and then J.C. Latham. That seems like kind of the dream setup, but the coaches are seeing something that we're not, and they're sticking with Seth.
Well, I think what happens with that, I think it's a setup for next year with T. Ferg. I think he's been taking snaps, instead of to get some reps there. And I think Seth, the chemistry, O-line's all about chemistry. But one of the breakdowns I saw in the Georgia game and what we've been doing to help Seth, especially when they're in a 4-down look and we got 5-on-4, what happens is we see 77 tag up with him the whole anchor for Seth. And then he's good. Jaden Roberts has got really good helping and check. He help and check inside, he help and check outside, just depending on which way it's slide protection or if it's straight up box, big on big.
Mm-hmm.
So frankly, that's what's been, and I think the coach has seen that. He's a run, Seth is, but where he excels, he's a movement guy. And so what I think that Michigan, they're going to see that, and they know when we're in a run situation, they may go odd, put somebody on him, so he can't work up to the next level. He can't pull out, that kind of thing. So we got to be careful with that. So it's going to be very interesting for me personally as a geek on this stuff to watch what's happening with the game and the game inside the tackle box. But yeah, you're right. Seth is a problem for us. He's the weakest link on the line in the run game and also in the passing game, because what's happened with this in the progression of Jalen Milroe, when he has been able to step up, you've been watching the double teams in the middle of the whole point, in the middle of the pocket. Early on, we weren't doing that, because we had Dalcourt in there. He was a liability, and the pocket was getting pushed into space, and he's checking out. He's just bailing. So that's what took our passing game to another level. It's a nuanced thing that most people don't see, but I break it down and I look at it. But if you look at the Georgia game, Georgia tried to pressure us with 4 down, and they'll bring some exotic pressures off the boundary and different things like that. So that allowed Jaden to double team and check inside, check outside, and allow our backs to kind of pick up. And then we had Robbie Oops in there. So we had Robbie Oops in there over with 74 on that side. We'll slide him over. And then what happens is that helps them. So we could do a lot of things with our pass pros. And I think the coaches have done a great job with getting our guys to kind of start seeing stunts and twists. But Michigan's going to be the next level with theirs, I think.
Yeah, 100%.
They're going to throw some stuff
Yeah, I think so. And I do have a lot of respect for Michigan's defense. Al, I appreciate you calling in as always, man. Love talking football. We could probably talk football all day long, man. So I appreciate you calling in, man.
Say hello to Cedric for me when you see him.
Cedric is the absolute man, and obviously, he's got the pipes, singing some old school R&B, make it last forever. You saw him he was back there, make it last forever. Yeah, so he was having a good time with it. All right, man. I appreciate you. I'll talk to you later, man.
All right.
All right,
Be
see ya.
well, brother.
All right,
All
take
right.
it easy.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to you, man. But I'll be talking to you before Christmas. All right, 470-256-256 and the 614. We'll just keep it moving. I appreciate you guys joining me today on this beautiful Tuesday, December 12th. December 20th will be signing day. That is next Wednesday. So definitely hit the subscribe button so you guys are notified every single time that we drop news. I'm on live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. and that's Central Time, and as news happens. So if there's major news, I'll definitely be on, or a video will be popping up or whatever. I appreciate you guys being subscribers to the channel and also supporting the coaches as well. We go back to the phone lines with 470. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, Kyle? It's Chance from Emerson, Georgia.
Hey, what's up, Chance? I appreciate you calling in, man. Welcome to the show, man. Take it away.
Yeah, it's been a minute, man. It's like I can never. You think you kind of switched it up a little bit, but yeah, I mean, I don't get the call as much as I do, and you are blowing up, bro. Every time I call, it's like super busy. I was surprised that I got in this time.
Yeah, I think, from a business perspective, I mean, I'm always doing different things to kind of switch it up to stay fresh and to keep the news moving. And I think, for me specifically, I've made some different moves that have helped. I mean, you can't stay stagnant. You always have to be fluid in business moves. So really, and the thing is too, I just wanted to deliver consistency, and I kind of looked at the game plan, looked at the map. What could I be consistent with and perform at a high level? So had to make some changes on the channel, and probably more changes are going to come down the road. But I always have the channel in the back of my mind because that's honestly how I support myself. So you have to, continue to change and evolve in business and be relevant and be able to put in the work. But anyways, man, enough about me. What's on your mind, Chance? Welcome to the show. Take it away, bro.
Yeah, well, first off, I don't know what all the uproar is about Florida State getting jumped. I mean, if you look at past, okay, there's always been 3 teams that you were guaranteed were the 3 best teams since we started the playoff in the country, and the 4th team was always a what if. That's the way it's always been, and it just so happens that most of those teams were undefeated. Okay, just because you're undefeated does not mean that you're the best team in the country. It also does not mean that you're guaranteed your spot in the playoff. It doesn't say that anywhere. It's just always kind of fell that way. All right, but Alabama's won they've had 1 national championship that was an undefeated season, maybe 2 out of all of those. The rest were like 1 losses. But I mean, yeah. So I mean, it's not that I don't understand what the uproar is about. Like, it's not a big deal that a 1-loss team can be better than an undefeated team. It happened. It's happening right now, and there's, I feel bad for Florida State, but I mean, even with a healthy Jordan Travis, you're not better than Alabama. You're not better than Texas.
100%. Yep.
You might be better than Washington, but I mean, seriously, there's no reason, and I think it's just something for anybody to take shots at Alabama about. Why Alabama's getting hated on so bad about it, I don't know. And where's my boy David Pollock? Where's that guy at? All that mess he was talking. Yeah. Ain't nobody seen him nowhere. He's hiding for sure. Because he was saying, oh, Kirby's the best coach. Georgia don't make mistakes. Well, I got to tell you, buddy, Georgia had more flags and more penalties than Alabama. They had a fumble, and they played like crap. That's how they got beat. So everything that he said Alabama did, his beloved Dogs did. So I just wanted to get that out there. So I hope he hears that, and I hope somebody relates it to him.
Well, that was true. When you look to the SEC title game, I mean, it really came down, theoretically, you could say, to 2 marquee plays that Georgia just didn't execute well on, right? You have the fumble. There was an odd play that they ran in the shadow of their own end zone, or at least, with Alabama in scoring distance, and that was a fumble that former Georgia player Trez Marshall jumped on, and then you have a missed field goal. So you look at those 2 miscues. You can't do that at this level, and you're right against the SEC play. Overall, the gauntlet of being in the SEC matters, and Greg Sankey, a lot of people don't agree with some of the things that he says or whatever. He was spot on before the selection show, and he said, look, one of these things is not like the other. And you look to comparative wins. So, for example, Louisville, who was in the ACC championship game the week prior to playing in the ACC title game, lost to Kentucky. Well, we all know what Alabama did to Kentucky, and we all know what Georgia did to Kentucky, right? So I'm just saying the ACC does not match up to the SEC in any way, shape, or form. So Florida State, yeah, you're right. Like, think about, their fan base. They lost their quarterback, and they go undefeated, and they don't make the playoffs. Yeah, heart goes out to Jordan Travis, most importantly, because think about this, like the bowl opt-outs, like Caleb Williams not playing with his team, Sam Hartman, I get it. They got to do what's best for their career. But I guarantee you, Jordan Travis would do anything to play in the Orange Bowl against Georgia, right? Like, you don't know how good something is until it's taken away from you. Yeah, because that's their national championship. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, until something's really taken away from you, right? Because, like, that's how life works sometimes. Sometimes when you live by the beach, you don't appreciate it. And sometimes when you live by the mountains, you don't ski on them for whatever the reason. But go ahead,
Well,
Chance.
I mean, you said it. You said it's a flawed system. I mean, there's a Power 5, and yet we have a 14 playoff. It should have been a 16 playoff to begin from the jump.
Yeah.
But I mean, anyways, yeah, I don't. It's a flawed system from the get, but they got it right.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched another guy that I encourage all Georgia fans to go do. You actually did a pod with him one day. It's Brooks Austin. He's a big Georgia fan.
Yeah.
He does he done a film breakdown.
Yep.
Yeah, that dude's awesome, and he's non-biased. Like he's a Georgia fan through and through, but he's gonna call it like he sees it. And he's done the film breakdown from the SEC championship, and he told exactly. I mean, every play exactly what happened. Georgia was just sloppy that day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in Alabama, like they went from that, they switched it up. They made adjustments when Georgia didn't.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I'll quit harping on that. But, yeah, I just wanted to get that out there. I feel bad for them, but it's whatever.
I don't know.
I'm happy that we're in. I was sitting there having a fit.
Did you see, kind of switching gears here, and thanks, Adam, for the super chat. I'll get to you in just a second. It says, Michigan's DC, great present. Our offense with complex, confusing schemes. If you're the OC, what would your game plan be? I'll get to you in just a second on that. I think that's a good question. And most importantly, thanks for the super chat. Chance, I don't know if you saw kind of the smoke, or I think it was true that Justice Haynes was back in Georgia and he was partying, and people were talking about, like, they were scared that he was going to flip to the bull. Did you see that, by the way? It's kind of like floating around there on message boards.
No, I haven't seen that, but I'm not worried about Justice Haynes leaving.
No way. Like, look, the kid is from. Okay, shocker. The kid is hanging out with his friends in the state that he's from. It's during the holiday time when these kids have just a small window to go hang out with their fam. You think that Justice Haynes, being like 2 plays away from being the absolute guy here, is going to dude, shocker. Guess what? I'm going back to New Mexico. He ain't
going nowhere, bro.
I'm going back to New Mexico. Does that mean I'm going to go cover my beloved New Mexico State Aggies? No. It means that I'm going to go watch them in the New Mexico Bowl. But I'm going to come back here to a place that pays the bills. So I thought that was hilarious. People freaking out about that. He's just he's hanging out.
I think the reason for that is because of the Dylan Raiola whole mess about him. He might be going to Nebraska.
Mm-hmm.
So they're tripping about that, and I think that's a trip too. But I mean, he might go, dude. I mean, I think it's weird because he uprooted his family and everybody. They all moved to Georgia for him to play high school ball, so he could be closer to college.
Yeah.
And then, but his uncle is a coordinator on the Nebraska staff. So
and then
there's a connection there. He might do it.
Because I did post that. I posted a YouTube short on that, and I was like, and people were like, it's fake news. I didn't, dude, you see the major names that flipped their forecast?
No, it's not.
Like, no, it's like for real. And his dad played at Nebraska. He's a legacy. And what is crazy is the fact that they moved. But in this world of parents kind of living vicariously through their kids and all this stuff that can happen now with kids transferring early and graduating early, whatever, like 100% it's real. And it looks like Nebraska is pretty confident that they're going to get him and Kyle McCord, who is a transfer from Ohio State. That's the crazy.
And Kyle McCord.
That's what I'm saying. That's the crazy thing to me is like Kyle McCord leaving Ohio State to Nebraska. That's kind of like a head scratcher to me, but I don't know. Anything else, Chance, before I move to my next caller?
Yeah. So the thing with Michigan is, you know, they're kind of one dimensional. You know, JJ McCarthy, they don't have the receivers to throw the ball around the yard. They're not going to be able to do that. Not with our secondary. They're not going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So if we shut their run game down, which is really all they have, then it's going to be a long day for them.
Mm-hmm.
A long day.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as Washington and Texas goes, I mean, Texas has got a mean defense. And Devontae Sweat is a bad dude, and I just don't see Washington's offensive line holding up to that. But I may be wrong. I mean, everybody put all kinds of stock in Ohio State and Oregon all year, and I said that was a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why we fell so far when we did. We didn't belong at 11. We was 11, Kyle, at some point in this season. We was ranked 11th, and we climbed to 8. We started the season at 3, and they dropped us all the way down there. We didn't belong down there, just like Oregon and Ohio State. They never belonged where they were at. But they, you know, like you were saying, you know, the committee was putting all this stock in Oregon and all that, wanting them to be, you know, really showing a lot of love to the Pac-12 because this is their last year and all that crap. But yeah, I mean, we're where we're at because that's where we belonged at in the beginning, and that's why they had us where we were at. But So, yeah, but that's it. That's all I got, man. I just wanted to rap with you.
All right. Well,
good to talk to you again, and I'll
absolutely, man. Anytime, man. Call in, and I appreciate chatting with you, Chance. Take it easy, buddy.
All right, brother. Roll Tide.
All right, roll Tide to you, man. That's Chance calling from behind enemy lines. We have a 256 up next right here on Bama Football on YouTube. I appreciate you guys being here. Ruben is heated inside the comment box. Ruben, what's up, man? He's mad. Texas should have gotten in because they were ranked 7th. Bama was ranked 8th. FSU got cheated. Man, I can't even imagine how you feel, Ruben. I'm sorry, bro, that Florida State is not in the playoffs. But think of it this way. You get a chance to play Georgia. It's not a bad consolation prize, right? A team that's won their last 29 out of 30 games, the last 2 national titles. So you go out, you know, and you can have, you know, you finish your season undefeated. And by the way, you could do what Central Florida did, and you could have a make-believe parade, right, if you win that game and say that you're the national champs. And really, nobody else can say that you're not, right? So teams from Florida sometimes do squirrely things like that. I think that Mike Norvell handled the situation poorly. What I would have done is you take it as a chance to coach your team about adversity, right? Because you're not entitled to anything in this world, nothing. You're not entitled to happiness, money, nothing, health, nothing. And when adversity strikes you, the only thing that you can do to combat adversity is move through it, right? You put your head down and you continue to keep working through it. That's all you can do. And this is a chance for him to be a coach to his team. A coach is a father to his kids, right? And when you go through adversity, you don't say, oh, we deserve this. We earn, you know, we're entitled to this. You're not entitled to anything, right? Nothing in life. So take it as an opportunity to continue to move forward, to push through. And you got Georgia coming up. With that said, we go back. Oh, let me get to this super chat real quick. Adam is saying Michigan's DC Jesse Minter is a great and going to present our offense with the complex and confusing schemes. If you were the OC, what would the game plan be? Just unleash Jalen Milroe, honestly. Just let him do his thing, and I think you work the running backs as well. I keep Jam Miller in the fold. I think Jam Miller is really hot, and when I look to the running backs at Alabama, don't really have an update on Jace McClellan for you right now, but we will get one to you as soon as we hear from Coach Saban. But look, I keep it I do what we've done, and the Alabama Crimson Tide have been able to continue to evolve with their offense, and I think they're going to have even more wrinkles coming up. But you go over the top with Isaiah Bond, you get the ball to Burton, and I think, you know, you get Jam Miller involved. I like Jace. I love him, dude. I mean, he's balled out. He's had an incredible season. But I think the running back with the hot hand right now is Jam Miller and Roydell Williams. I mean, so you have 3 versatile backs. So I think they, you beat them over the top, but you also feed the running backs and you let the defense come up with some big plays and you play good on special teams as well. Will Reichert has to have a chip on his shoulder after missing the Lou Garza, right? I mean, he should have absolutely won that award. You're talking about a guy who's the all-time leading scorer in college football history missing out on the award. Whatever. That's pretty crazy. All right. Anyways, we go back to Adam, but thank you so much for the super chat, man. And thank you for supporting the channel and for being a fan funder and for the super chats, man. Really appreciate you. So thank you so much. All right. Let's go to 256 in. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with and where are you calling in from?
What's up, big homie? It's Luke from Weaver.
Hey, what's up, Luke? I appreciate you calling in, man. Good to hear from you. I appreciate you joining the show, man. Take it away.
Can't ever get through no more, man. You're about to be the new Paul Feinbaum. What's going on?
I appreciate it, man. No, I think, people like to call in and talk, college football. I'm here for it. I love it. I like to talk to all the users where they're coming from, and inside the comment box. So I love it, man, but I'm here for it, man. So, Luke, you're here, man, from Weaver. I always appreciate your take. Luke doesn't bullshit, so Luke's going to give it to you straight, so I appreciate you coming in, Luke. Take it away, bro.
Well, I mean, starting off like that, I just need to know. We don't need to talk about him because he's really not on our level, but where's AJ at?
He called.
I just wanted to know if he's been around.
No, he called in.
He called?
He called in after the Georgia game, and he gave like a semi-apology. And I think we're he's starting to buy into the process. Look, the thing was that Jalen Milroe, and I agree with this, he didn't have his most accurate game against Georgia, but he still willed the team to win. So he did like a semi-apology, but I think after the national title, if Alabama's able to get there, we'll get like a full apology. But anyways, man, what's on your mind, Luke?
First of all, now I keep forgetting to bring this up, but now with this game coming up, Ohio State, who really didn't even beat Notre Dame. You remember this? They didn't cross the line, but somehow got the call. Yeah. Now they played a good game against Michigan. So I mean, the Big Ten, that just proves the Big Ten ain't really nothing. Now they got people like Dave what is his name? Portnoy. They're betting $1 million trying to get their teams to lift it up that people believe in them, because after what we saw, they don't believe in themselves. They found out that they were playing Alabama, and I think I heard a few of them, poop themselves, for lack of better words. Now, yeah, AJ can be a little bit right. Milroe didn't have the best games against Georgia, but 4 for 4 on the second to last drive to get a touchdown, and then 2 first downs.
Hell yeah. Yep.
The dude comes in clutch. That's why, when it's needed, when it's there, he does. He has the last play mentality. He forgets about everything and does what he's supposed to do. And Michigan, now they don't have their center. Their interior is just, I don't even know who their new center is, if he's really anybody. But they haven't proved that they can throw the ball down the field like that, because they haven't had to play anybody to do it. And I just don't think that they're going to get through our secondary, which is the best freshmen in the league, 2 of the best corners in the league.
Yeah.
And then stopping the run, we can stop the run. And then I think we've already proven that we can let a team run the hell all over us and still win.
Yeah, I mean, you bring up two good points right there. You have 3 All-Americans in the secondary: Terran Arnold, Kool-Aid, JaQuincy McKinstry, and then you have Caleb Downs, the freshman phenom, right? Outside of that, you also have Malachi Moore, Jalen Key, Trey Amos, Christian Story. I mean, the guys have been playing big in the secondary. And then, like you just said, I mean, you look to the fact that Auburn was able to run for 244 yards on Alabama, and a lot of that is because of the boogeyman, Hugh Freeze, and what he was able to do in that particular game, but you still come out with the W. This team has proven all season long that they're resilient. You can't discount this team. Look at the way that they transformed in that middle of the season. They were trailing against Ole Miss at halftime. They were trailing against Tennessee at halftime. They were able to manufacture really good comebacks and put together a solid 4 quarters of play. The game is not ever won at halftime. We've known this in Alabama. Right now, they're a completely different team than they were against Ole Miss, and then against Tennessee, then against LSU. They're a much better team. Here they are at the playoffs, and I think they still are an underdog against Michigan. And you're right, the CEO of Barstool betting $1 million and saying that Jalen Milroe. What did he say about Jalen Milroe? That he can't throw the football or something like that? No,
he can't throw the football.
You mess around and you find out. And a lot of teams have found out, right? That lake mentality. Yeah, exactly. And that's what Texas A&M's game plan did. And Texas A&M has an amazing, or they did have an amazing defensive front. They had a ton of sacks coming in, and they challenged Jalen Milroe to beat them over the top. And that's when we saw the immersion of Jermaine Burton. So Burton killed it. Do you guys want to see something real quick? You guys want to see my puppy just came in? Come here. Come here. Oh. So check this out. She just came in. I need to feed her. I have 2 of them, but this is Peach. So I have this one, and then I have a blonde one. The blonde one can't walk upstairs, but this is Peach. What's up, Peach? All right, I'll feed you in a second. But yeah, that was the game with Jermaine Burton when Jermaine Burton went completely crazy and became like that ride out. Hey, Luke, let me ask you about this whole Ryan Williams deal. What's your take on all that stuff? And you kind of notice, none of his graphics necessarily have like Alabama stuff on the graphics, but he said that he's a solid commit, or other people have. I mean, what's your take on all that stuff?
That's the one that went to Saraland, right?
Yes, 100%.
Man, I got mad, bro. Alabama Public TV or whatever. They cut out the first half of that game.
Oh my goodness!
I was they cut something happened with the program. They cut out the first half of the game. But that kid's solid.
Hell yeah, dude! And the crazy thing is, and we probably haven't talked about him enough, but you also have Jalen Mbakwe, who's coming in from Chalkville, the team who was able to beat Saraland in the championship game, and he's coming in too as a DB. So that class is absolutely stacked. Jalen Mbakwe will be an early enrollee as well. So him coming in and being able to practice with the team is great. What else you got, Luke, before I move to my next caller?
Well, we got, not to do with us, but breaking news, Riley Leonard just transferred to Notre Dame.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that. Riley Leonard is a quarterback from Duke. Duke has been able to pump out some pretty good quarterbacks, I guess, over the last couple years. But him going to Notre Dame, he'll be the next quarterback to replace Sam Hartman, who won't play in the Sun Bowl against Oregon State. So you're starting to see all these quarterbacks go to different places. I think I saw that. Where did I just see Will Rogers, Mississippi State? Where was he visiting, or where is he trending? Was it Washington? I think that Will Rogers was trending towards Washington, and then you also have I think this one was big. If Auburn would have got Dylan Gabriel, I think he's a baller. But Oregon is able to get Dylan Gabriel, and he will replace Bo Nix as their quarterback. I think Dylan Gabriel's a baller. So him leaving Oklahoma to go out to Oregon, I mean, that's a big move. Yeah, Jarvis is saying Will Rogers potentially to Washington. What else, Luke? Anything else?
Yeah. Just the last 2 things, man. One, I wish Ja'Cory Brooks wouldn't leave. I haven't been able to call in and talk about it. I know you talked about him already. I've been all season wondering where the hell he's at. Then he blocked that punt against somebody, and I don't know. I guess he had a hurt shoulder. I don't know why he's leaving. That one sucks. And then 2, with all these people not playing in bowl games, man, I thought Alabama proved something last year we didn't have a player sit out. We had the number 1 and number 3 picks in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are y'all football players or y'all businessmen?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I understand this is a business, but man, I don't see no love for the game when y'all skipping bowl games because you're about to go to the NFL. It's not hard to sit in the pocket and make some passes and play. Maybe don't do some stupid stuff, but man, just play the game.
Yeah.
But
and that's kind of,
I don't know.
I mean,
so that's what I think about FSU and stuff.
So yeah,
they should just play and prove themselves like we did.
And that's why it's so amazing that Coach Saban last year, despite not making the playoffs, was able to still get Bryce Young and William Anderson to play in the Sugar Bowl. And guess what? Alabama played their best game in the Sugar Bowl. So it is another opportunity for these guys to play in a bowl game if it's not the playoffs. But since the playoffs have been established, the bowl games don't have the same relevancy that they used to. Now when they move to a 12-game format, it's going to be even less about the bowl games. But that's the world we are in college football. And then, Luke, my final thought on Ja'Cory Brooks is, man, the guy certainly balled out, you know, at times for Alabama. I think the injury and the fact that other wide receivers started to climb, you know, the depth chart, it just kind of, you know, pushed him out. But we've seen other wide receivers go from Alabama, like Trayshawn Holden. I think JoJo Earl put together a nice little season with TCU. So best wishes to Ja'Cory Brooks. You know, hopefully things work out from him because he did a really good job. And I think everybody's going to remember, like Coach Saban says, you're always remembered for what you do in the Iron Bowl. And we all know what he did in the Iron Bowl was come through in the clutch. Luke, I appreciate you calling in, man. Call again next time.
Of course, man. You have a good one.
All right, you too, man.
Talk soon.
Yep. Man, Luke and I didn't even Luke, I didn't even talk to you about the 49ers. So Luke's a 49er fan as well. Luke, get inside the comment box, man. What'd you think about that W over the Seahawks, that first run by Christian McCaffrey? My goodness. The 49ers actually clinched a spot in the playoffs, first team to do it in the NFL, completely rolling. Kyle Shanahan, an absolute genius. But he's also working with some major weapons, right? Like you got Lambos and Bugattis everywhere out on the field. So I think somebody asked me about Ryan Williams. Byron. What's up, Brian? No, I was saying is just like, you know, with this whole Ryan Williams thing, you know, if you watch that interview with AL.com, they're like, are you a solid commitment? And he says yes. And then he also says he's enjoying the recruiting process. He is not going to sign next Wednesday. He will sign on February 9th. So I know that Auburn is seriously throwing every single thing at him. I have no idea, you know, if that's going to mean like some sort of flip or whatever, but this is a silly season as people like to refer to it. And who knows what's going to happen. It's not over until it's over. The guy is an absolute baller, and I'm really excited for his career because he does have that next level playing ability. And I think he's a day one impact player here at Alabama. The crazy thing is I think Jalen Milroe was clocked out at like 21 miles an hour or 22. I think Ryan Williams this year was clocked out at like 24, which is just crazy to think about. Okay, we'll keep the show going on. 256, I appreciate you being patient. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, what's up, Cal? This is Danny calling from Tuscaloosa.
What's up, Danny? I appreciate you calling in from beautiful Tuscaloosa, man. Good city to be at, man. Welcome to the show, and take it away.
Well, I want to talk about these Florida State fans first. Look, man, I don't know why they keep crying if they're acting like the committee just had reservations for them, saying, hey, you know, no matter what, you just keep winning. We got reservations for you.
Mm-hmm.
Just win your games, you coming.
Mm-hmm.
And they're acting like Alabama just took their reservations or something. Like you said, nobody's entitled to nothing.
Nothing.
Like when the final playoffs came, nobody just said automatically, okay, Washington, you got a spot.
Yep.
Michigan, you got a spot. Texas, you got a spot. Nobody just automatically did that. Mm-hmm. They just went ahead and did the final talk and everything. Mm-hmm. But these Florida State fans, oh my goodness, man, I have never seen so much crying.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
No,
and then
yeah, I get it. And the crazy thing is, there's another team that finished undefeated as well, Liberty. But, sometimes, you're placed in line and they're excited to play Oregon. And more than likely, who knows? Like, weird things happen. I don't know if they beat Oregon or not, but they won their conference. They're undefeated as well. And they're looking forward to the next game. That's all you can do in that situation. You didn't make the playoffs. You didn't win first place. You didn't get an award, whatever. Keep working. Job's not finished. Job's not finished until the job is finished. And when the job is not finished and you still have a bowl game and you have Georgia and you're distracted because you're telling your team that what's the point of the season? The point of the season is to play the games and to learn to be able to win and be able to compete at the highest level. And when you are basically like, what is the point of playing the game? What type of message does that send to your entire team, to the boosters, to everybody behind you? Right? So I don't think it was handled correctly. And I think, the best way to go about this is to not say another word about it. Every single word from Florida State should be about the Orange Bowl and about Georgia, and just focus on that, finish out the season 14-0, and that's it.
Exactly. And then I also want to talk about, this recruiting class, man. 2024 is about to be, I can't wait for spring. Because here's what I'm thinking, to be honest. I don't know if he can or not. I think if Jalen does win the national championship, I think he's going pro. I mean, he has nothing else to prove if he do. Because, look, you got Julian Sayin coming. We got Todd Simpson still there. Dylan Lonergan.
Yep.
And then we got, I know the wide receivers, we're going to still be loaded. You got Bond and Benson. And then you got Williams coming in too, man. And then you got Hall. Like, I want to see more of Hall too. Like, man, we loaded. And then at running back, you can't ask for more. We're just loaded everywhere. But yeah, I really think if Jalen wins the national championship, I think he's going pro.
Yeah, I don't think so. And look, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe so this is what happens. So literally, and this happens fast. So when Alabama plays its final game of the season, whether that's a national title game or they lose to Michigan, whatever, it happens like this, okay? Coach Saban meets with the players right away, like immediately. Like I think he gives them like a pregame talk, and then he meets with the players individually, whether that's after the postgame press conference or whatever, and he gives them their draft grade. And then they basically, he doesn't want players to take third or fifth round money if they can return another year, because there's a big difference in that type of money between first and second round. We know that, right? So I think with the and the reason that I think that Jalen comes back next season is because job's not finished. He's not complete as a player. And on top of that, there's other quarterbacks that are ready to go to the NFL ahead of him, right? This is a pretty good quarterback class. So, like I said, I don't have any insight knowledge. And who knows? Things could change. Can you imagine if he just has his best passing game against Michigan and he completely kills them, and he does the same thing about Texas? Because that's why I think the Heisman Trophy being determined already is silly, because we haven't even seen the best games of the football season yet. So your stock can still absolutely rise 1,000,000% with these next two games, with all the eyeballs on you going up against a Michigan, going up against, a Texas or a Washington or whatever. So, I think, it's not out of the question. I just think that he comes back. But you're right. The quarterbacks behind him are very capable. Ty Simpson, watching him against Kentucky, I was like, "Ooh, he looks nice. He looks pretty good."
Exactly.
Dylan Lonergan, as I've said many times, a lot of people felt that he was going to be the guy. Honestly, at the beginning of the year, that's not made up. Like, people were really pushing for him. And then you also have, Julian Sayin coming on board. So there's a lot of guys. You have Eli Holsting, who's still on the roster as well. So in this recruiting class is good. It's very good. It's very talented. And I think they're ranked number 3 overall in the recruiting ranking. So whatever the case is, it's an elite class. And now with you adding Ryan Williams from 2025 to 2024, it only bolsters it because you have another 5-star. What else you got, Danny?
I want to talk on the Michigan game. Man, I know people going to be like, well, don't look over a team. So I'm not looking over them, but there's nothing really concerning me about Michigan. Like, I watched them play against Iowa. Man, if Iowa just had a decent offense, they could have had that game close, or it could have been to the wire.
Mm-hmm.
They were getting after JJ in the backfield all day. He was literally throwing passes like into coverage and getting lucky. I'm like, man, if he plays us throwing balls like that, it's going to be a wrap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't do that against Alabama, especially like if you getting run around all day and just like trying to just make a miracle play. That's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I watched that game. There's nothing concerning me about Michigan. I can't even name one player except for the running back on like at wide receiver that scares me.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa, I mean, that's the thing with those conference games. I mean, unfortunately, Iowa State and Michigan on the same side, because it would have been great to see those two teams go at it again. I'm sure Kyle McCord would have loved to go at it again. I'm sure, Marvin Harrison Jr. would have loved another shot at Michigan. And the thing about it is Michigan's DBs, I thought, played Ohio State pretty well. And their linebackers are pretty good. But I think from the offensive standpoint, that they're going to have a really tough time with Alabama's defense. I mean, that secondary is, and this is the other thing, and we've talked about this on the show before. Danny, you're knee deep in it. You're talking, word for word with me about Alabama football. Let me ask you guys about this, and you, Danny, the difference between the defense under Pete Golding and Kevin Steele. My goodness, like usually,
big improvement.
It's crazy, right? Like you have, like going into the season under Pete Golding, it felt like you always had some sort of anxiety about the defense and something was going to go wrong. But this year, you don't have anxiety at all with the defense. You're like, all right.
Man, look, man. I'm going to be honest. Every time, like, when Pete Golding was the coordinator, I was always getting, like my heart's trying to, like, man, I hope our secondary going to show up. I don't feel that way. I'm more nervous, like, man, we need an offense to improve a little bit better. That's the only thing that worries me. But, yeah, the defense, I'm not even worried about that. Yeah. Like, yeah, when, man, Pete Golding made me almost had to go to the hospital.
Nightmare on Golden Street. Here I am looking like the Freddy Krueger with the stripes on. All right, man. Anything else, Danny, before we move to our next caller?
I want to, one more thing. Mm-hmm. I want to say Texas is going to, like, own Washington, but then again, like they said, they played them last year. I know Texas wants revenge. I know Washington is going to still be like, well, we handled these guys last year, just like they're going to feel the same way like they handled Oregon. Like, we just can mix it up this time. Because, I mean, they got a good wide receiver room. I'm not going to lie. And Texas secondary is banged up right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if that defensive line is doing like they did against Oklahoma State and Texas Tech, it's gonna be a long game for Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm with you there, man. So I guess we'll just have to see. We have who knows? It seems like the fan base was kind of split in the chat about Washington and Texas. Danny, call in anytime, man. I appreciate you joining the show this morning.
Appreciate it.
All right,
roll tide.
Yeah, roll tide to you, man. All right, that was Danny right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So this morning, you guys know that I'm part of a men's workout group. We work out Monday through Saturday at 5:30 a.m. That's the start time. So it's 29 degrees. I worked out downtown Tuscaloosa. So our workout today was basically these 40 to 45 pound sandbags, right? So we got after it this morning. It was cold. It's been cold here. Yesterday was a little bit cold. Oh, and before I continue too, I should have said this at the beginning of the show. Thoughts and prayers to our friends out in the Nashville area, in the surrounding areas, because I know that there was some tornadoes out there. There was some lives lost. So I'm really sorry to hear that. And, kind of it breaks my heart to see the footage. And, I really am, sorry to see that those storms, hit and affected that area. Nashville's been getting some pretty big storms and some tornadoes. Same thing with, I think when you look to kind of the way that the weather pattern has gone, it's like Mississippi, whatever is going on in Mississippi, man, we've been getting missed, thankfully, in Tuscaloosa. But, thoughts and prayers to whoever's had to deal with that. Absolutely. All right, we go to 614. Let's do it right now. Yeah, I appreciate you being on. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
What's up, buddy? This is Mike Scott. I was in the airport yesterday from Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah.
And my phone broke up. So let's finish that conversation. So
Oh.
basically I was saying, man, about the bullying and stuff, right? I said if somebody was bullying on you and I beat the bully up, wouldn't you invite me to your party?
Yeah.
And you laughed. You laughed, right? But that's what Georgia was. They was bullying. And it doesn't matter, like, you know, with college football, with football in general, it's going to come like injuries. You know what I mean? Because I can say like this. Mechie tore his ACL in the SEC championship.
Yep.
And then Williamson tore his in the national. If they don't tear those, we blow them boys out.
Yes.
Right?
100%.
Then the next following year when they won the national, Marvin Harrison, he the concussion. Remember, they about to go up 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
Concussion. Georgia comes back, beats them, and then win another national.
Yep.
So I just wanted to say that for the Florida State fans, and I just don't think if Travis does not play, do they beat LSU? Do they beat Clemson? You know, the field goal that was missed, and you know, and then they came down and made a field goal. Do they win those games? I don't think so. Not at all. You get what I'm saying? So I think that mattered. I think the committee looked at that. What else do I want to talk about? Let's go to Michigan, right? Michigan, styles make fights. That's what I was saying in the airport. Styles make fights. So Michigan, they're known for giving up big plays. We're going to hit them over the top. Bond going to hit them. Burton going to hit them. I believe everybody's going to come together. I just think we're peaking at the right time. When that 4th and 31, when we got that, listen, man, this is our year. And last with Monroe, listen, he's a Mike Vick. He's going to stay one more year. I believe that he's going to finish out strong. This is how I believe that what God is going to do for his life. I believe that he's going to finish out strong, and he's going to win a national championship. He's going to come back next year and tear college football up because I really believe that he's going to work harder than none other on his mechanics and stuff like that for the following season. And I really believe that, man, we're going back to back. I really believe that with my whole heart, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too. I think as I was telling Danny, you know, on the previous call, I think that Jalen Milroe comes back. I think that, you know, job's not finished for him. Work's not complete here at Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I think that, you know, you try to put him in this different box or in the same box of any of these other quarterbacks who just came through Alabama. He's completely different, right? He's not the same as Jalen Hurts. He's not the same as Tua. He's not the same as Mac, and he's not the same as Bryce. He's his own type of quarterback, and I like the way that him and Tommy Rees have figured out the best combination for him in terms of leading this offense. The guy's, you know, he's going to be an absolute menace for teams next season. Absolutely. And you look to all the weapons that he has. Yeah. I mean, look, think about this. There were so many people that discounted Jalen Hurts, right? There were so many people that didn't want Mac Jones to start. They wanted Bryce Young to start over him his freshman year. You look at the transformation of these players throughout, 5-6 years of play, 2 years of play. It's dramatic, honestly. Like, just wait till Tommy and Jalen can sit down and have a full year together, right? Another year and a half together. Think as Jalen matures as a player and all the film and all the things that, you know, his field awareness, like, and the thing that we're seeing with Jalen Milroe is he's growing right before our eyes. Like the field awareness, for example, like, right, there was a couple times where he threw across the line of scrimmage. He knew about that. He did better in terms of Georgia with the field awareness. He could have ran and took a big punishing blow on the sidelines, but he slid to keep the time moving. So we're seeing that development continue. I mean, it's coming together, whether you like it or not. And I've said this a bunch of times. As soon as this offense continues to they're chasing that defense, and that defense is elite, this offense next year is going to be right there. And you have to figure out who you're going to replace Dallas Turner with and Chris Broswell. But Keon Keeley and Yanzi Pierre, who haven't seen a lot of time this year, Quay Russo, another very talented guy we don't talk enough about. Man, that defense is going to definitely reload. And then you have, you know, some of these younger guys who have spot played this year. Replacing the corners will be a challenge. I guess we're all watching the decision decision of Terrion Arnold after the season. If he comes back or he leaves, I know he's a first-team All-American. I think he's made himself a lot of money, but he's a guy
He's gone.
Yeah, right? I'm kind of leaning now to the fact that he's gone. So you have to replace your two corners. Trey Amos could come back. That's one guy who's been playing really through the roof as well when he's had opportunities. What else you got, Mike, before I move to my next caller?
So I was gonna say I want us to pertaining to Michigan, man. We're gonna shut the run down, and we got the two best corners, man. Just make them jokers beat us down the field, and we'll live with that, you know. And then last, man, Nick Saban he's so competitive, man. When we play against Texas, I feel sorry for him, to be honest with you, because Worthy, I want to say he left the game in the boot. So I don't even think he's 100%. And that's what hurt us over the top to start that game out. I think, once we got down, I think that game right there was too big for Monroe. He just had to learn from it, make some mistakes and stuff like that. And then Nick Saban had to show everybody the following game, like, hey, this is who we have. Trust me, I know. And that's why he's setting that whole game to show the fans, because we were very critical, man, on that young man. Very critical. And that was off of just one game. You get what I'm saying? But us diehard fans, we was like, man, I don't know if he can handle that job. You get what I'm saying? But he's proven himself, man, and I believe that we're going to win. And like I said, from here, we're just going to the top, man. I mean, we always been at the top, but you know what I mean, as far as like with this season. We're going to finish out, number one, and going to next year. I believe we're going back to back, man. I love what you're doing. Thank you for taking my call. And I agree with that young man that said you're the next Paul Farmer, man. So take it easy, man.
I don't know if that's good or bad, but I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
I was saying, like, he loves his craft. He works hard, and that's you, man, because I've been listening to you for a long time now.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Mike. Take it easy, man.
Okay, you take it easy.
Yeah, all right. I appreciate that. Honestly, I think a lot of you guys have seen the growth of the channel, and it's funny to do. I don't know if you have time to do it, or if you I go back on some of those videos that I was doing the call-in show like 5 years ago. Just to see how it's changed and how it's morphed, and to see how there's a bunch of now creators out there doing their own craft. It's been cool to see. But my oldest video, I think, is 17 years ago on YouTube, when I used to cover New Mexico high school football. And those were great times. I had a really great run in New Mexico. I had a business that just covered New Mexico high school sports. So I would travel all around New Mexico, covering the top high school athletes, not only just at, the 6A level, but also down to 6-man. I would go to like these big time games, and in 6-man, do they have a 6-man and 8-man here in Alabama? In New Mexico, you have 6A, 6-man and 8-man football. It's crazy. The fields are shrunken down to 80 yards, and the scores are crazy. They're like, I don't know, 90 to whatever. So anyways, but I appreciate the support, guys. All right, we go back. We got David calling in. David, welcome to the show, man. I appreciate you being patient, man. Welcome on in, and take it away.
What's going on? Hope everybody's having a wonderful morning. Ruben's still in the catch. Man, I feel sorry for the dude. I really do feel sorry for him, and Florida State. But just imagine this. I don't see McConkey or Bowers or really any of the Georgia players opting out. I've seen one of the Florida State top receivers opt out to go into the draft. With a healthy McConkey and a healthy Bowers, Kirby Smart's going to make a statement that, hey, we should have been in the top 4 against Florida State. It's going to be dirty. It's going to be really, really dirty. I would say, if they had their starting quarterback in, Florida State had their starting quarterback in, it might be a little bit of a game. But, I mean, Georgia has been a monster for the past couple of years. Look at how the game was against Alabama, in the SEC championship. It was a dogfight for a while. And then, the Alabama offensive line just started wearing down their defense. And Florida State doesn't have an offensive line that's going to wear down Georgia's defense in any kind of way. As far as Washington versus Texas,
Yes.
Texas is going to throttle.
Thank you.
Texas is going to throttle Washington.
Yes.
I'm serious. You said 14. I believe 28. I really do. It's going to be a bloodbath. They're going to just. I mean, you know, Texas has a really good defense.
Yep.
And a really good offense.
Yep.
No, I mean, it is what it is. It's just the way it is. But you know, as a fan, and as fans in the chat and everything else, and the callers, we think that Alabama's just going to go in and dismantle Michigan. You know, but Coach Saban don't look at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
The players don't look at it like that.
Mm-hmm.
We as fans think, you know, how we handled Georgia, we're just going to go in and destroy Michigan. It's very possible that could happen, but Nick Saban is going to keep his players focused on the task at hand, you know, in front of them, and not think of them as a grain of salt. You know, he's going to have them prepared and ready for anything. You know, Jim Harbaugh is going to try to make a statement. You know, he's going to do whatever he can. Nick Saban's got hired a bunch of Navy SEALs, from what I heard, to vet everyone coming into the practices, to make sure nobody's trying to steal signs or anything.
So when you go into the University of Alabama, like to go watch Nick Saban's press conference, you have to go. So the first line of defense is you walk up the stairs, right, and you go into the Mount Moore, and you have to if you've been given access, you put your finger on this like digital code, and it lets you in. But if you don't have that, then you have to hit this. It's kind of like a doorbell. And then the lady, like, you know, when you pick up your child from like elementary school, you know, have to press that button, they have to see you. So once she gives like the okay, they allow you to go in. And then you have to walk up the stairs, and you have to kind of like swivel around, and then you have to go into the second line of defense, which is this keypad. And then you have to hit the keypad, and then you go inside, and you're directly like right into the media room where Saban does his press conference. But anything beyond that is like forbidden, and you can't go that way. In fact, you have to reroute out if you have to use the restroom and redo the whole process over. So it's tightened security here in Tuscaloosa. But that was funny that you were saying that about the sign stealing. And I was saying that earlier. That's completely dissolved. Nobody's talking about the sign stealing anymore.
Right. It's crazy. I mean, it's over with. I'm not worried about the sign stealing, you know, because, I mean, just think of it like this. Whether he went to the practices or not, in a live game, you could have someone on the sideline trying to figure out the signs, you know, that they're given, you know, in a live game. So what's the big deal on it? You know, like Saban said, he said that's been going on for years, where they've been trying to steal signs from other teams and stuff like that, you know.
Yep.
But this Liberty game against Oregon, that's going to be an interesting game, I think. A lot of people don't think that Liberty has a chance, but I watched the ESPN analysts talk about it, about Liberty, and said they have a really good offense that has some triple options and, you know, different kind of things going on that may give Oregon some, you know, some little problems, because you got to think of it like this. Bo Nix is fixing to go into the draft. You think he's going to play? Maybe not. A lot of these guys nowadays are opting out when they're fixing to go in the NFL. Yeah. And, but like I said, I don't see Bowers and McConkey. I don't know if McConkey's eligible to go in the draft yet. I don't really keep up with Georgia at all, but I know this is Bowers' year. He can go into the draft. And like I said, with them two being healthy, man, they're hard. They're tough. Yeah. They're tough. Bowers is he's a monster. I'm not gonna lie. I wish he'd have been on at Alabama, but I'm just ready for bowl games. I want you to do me a favor. I know baseball is a boring sport, but we got a new head coach at the University of Alabama. baseball. And if you can ever, get up, do a little bit of journalism on them, that would be great, because as being an Alabama fan and all the sports that they do, it's hard being in Louisiana to keep up with things going on there. I mean, I know the internet's a great thing, but you live right there in Titletown, USA, and, and what's up with the basketball team? Man, they have lost, 3 games in a row?
Yeah, and,
like that.
and the schedule is going to be tough for them. I mean, they have Creighton coming up. I think Creighton's ranked number 8. We'll dive into basketball once football is over. But, I think with that Purdue team and something that we've seen with this Alabama team is the low post. Purdue was able to eat them up, and there at the end, game got kind of weird in terms of the officiating. But, man, Alabama hit 13 threes in that first half of the game, which is crazy. They were absolutely on fire. Purdue, so what are they, 0-2 against Big Ten teams? Because they lost to Ohio State and then to Purdue. So many more games to play, including all the conference games. But I think Alabama will get it together at some point. Nate Oates, still, in my opinion, the guy for the job and doing a good job with his team. In a new team, right? We talk about kind of the transfers in and out. This is a completely rebuild of a new team. So I think that, eventually they'll get it going. But, David, I appreciate you calling in, man. Thank you very much for being patient. I know you waited a while to get on. I did my best to get to you. So I appreciate all the support, man, and I'll talk to you next time.
All right. God bless everyone, and roll tide.
All right. Roll tide to you. All right. Thanks, David. All right. We got a 256. We'll just jump right into it. Hey, thanks for being patient. You're on the line with Kyle Henderson. Who I'm on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
How you doing, Kyle? This is Boots from Lake Gunnsville, Alabama. How you doing?
Hey, Boots. I appreciate you catching us today. Welcome to the show, man. Take it away.
Now, I told you, you remember me and you was talking at the beginning of the year for the Texas game, and I was telling you about this show, and I told you that this show was going to blow up. You remember when I said that?
Thank you. I appreciate that.
The one thing I want to say is we're going to have to be careful about that Williams boy, because, Auburn done offered him a lot of money.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to match that.
Mm-hmm.
Main thing is we got to keep aware of it. I ain't no telling what they boosted up to, but we got to be willing to offer more than them. Now, I'll just say that. Okay, Kyle, far as we're going to go in this championship, I think we got a good team. I think we got the team to win it. But as far as we going to go, as far as them big boys, like Big Tim Keenan, kind of played well there for 6 or 7 games, and then kind of just, him and Big Tim Smith, we got to have them two along with Jaheim and them. We got to have somebody in that defensive line to stand up in there. Mm-hmm. So, and I just remember to talk to them boys, them big linemen, when you see them and tell them they're going to have to bring their A game. You know what I mean? That's about as far as we're going to go, as far as they'll take us. Now, as far as Miro, I seen that guy from Mobile or Tuscaloosa one that's, thought that I think he's from Tuscaloosa. Mm-hmm. Said he'd go pro. I believe he will. I just, I hate to say it, but, after all that done happened to him, I just think he either go pro or take another expansive NIL deal. He just probably won't stay,
Mm-hmm.
Trying to everybody on him, still right now he got doubters, Mm-hmm. He got doubters right now. That's a shame. I hate it for that young man, but he fixed him. He got his opportunity to prove to everybody what he is. And when I told you it's the first year he'll be the top quarterback, I still hold to that. I don't care nothing about that old Williams boy out there at USC or Drake May, either one.
Yeah.
Even the guy from Washington, pretty good guy. I mean, you just got to give him credit. Now, he's going to show against Texas what he is. But I'm going to tell you something. Milroe ain't scratched the surface on how good he is. And everybody going to be able to see. I think, when he still got that chip, because he know he here. Mm-hmm. He here than they says right now. Keep on everybody talking about, I don't know if Milroe. Look, man, Milroe the top quarterback in the country. Alabama fans ought to be proud, to have that. Nick Saban went and got the number one after Bryce Young. They didn't already know that Milroe was the number one quarterback. Heck, I could see it when he came, man.
Yeah.
I could see it while he was sitting on the bench. Mm-hmm. Now, as far as everybody want to talk Michigan down and all that. They better just keep their thoughts to themselves, because when you're in a championship game, teams play as hard as they going.
Yes.
It's probably the toughest game we're gonna have all year for the toughness, physical part of the game. They got to be ready and get their head on right. So I hope they do. And I heard about you going on your trip, and God bless you. And I hope you have a good trip out there, and a winning trip. I don't want you to come back all fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway, Antoine Barnes, I seen that on there, and I kind of didn't know what that was about. Could you elaborate on that a little?
Anquin Barnes entered the transfer portal yesterday. So now you have 5 players that have entered the transfer portal from Alabama, with one finding a landing spot, and that's Tyler Buckner, who's going to play lacrosse at Notre Dame because he can play immediately at Notre Dame. You also have Ja'Cory Brooks, you have Isaiah Hastings, and now Anquin Barnes. Anquin Barnes played in 2 games this season for Alabama, defensive lineman, big boy. I think, some of these guys, all these guys have met with Coach Saban this week. Actually, last week is when Coach Saban met with some of these guys. And I think that, these guys can maybe find landing spots other places, or he just wasn't going to get on the field. But whatever the case, you wish them the best. And that's just kind of the nature of the beast that we're in right now with college football is there's a transfer portal. Guys enter it. Sometimes the guys pull their name out. Like I think it was Jalen Moody, right? A couple years ago, entered the transfer portal, then pulled back out. Ended up having a really nice season at Alabama. So I guess it just kind of goes, how it goes. But, yeah, that's kind of the mention of Anquin Barnes. But, Boots, I appreciate you calling in. Thanks for calling in, and call again next time.
Roll Tide, Kyle.
Roll Tide to you. All right, this will be my last call. I think I've been going for 2 hours, so I think I'm starting to lose my voice. But this will be my last call of the day. So 773. Hey, thanks for calling in. You're on the line with Kyle.
Hey, Kyle.
Yeah, who am I on the line with, and where are you calling in from?
Hey, Kyle, how's it going?
Yeah.
Calling from Chicago. It's Mike from Chicago.
Oh, Mike, what's up, man? I appreciate you, man. Go ahead, man. Take it away.
Hey, it's been a great season, fun season, exciting season. I love it. This is one thing. People want to say, hey, great coaching job. For the most part, it was, but somebody dropped the ball on Miro. Somebody did. You're not going to tell me this guy goes from, he can't play till he finished 6th in the Heisman. And next year, he's rated number 1 to win the Heisman. And we won because of Milroe. If you think of all the things that he did this year, we won because of Milroe. And somehow or another, you bring in Tyler Buckner, this guy's going to lacrosse. I just like to know the backstory of what was going on in those meeting rooms, because somebody dropped the ball. And then at some point they say, hey, let's pick it back up. Let's go ahead and do whatever. I don't know if it was their coaching technique, their style, how they were pushing him, whatever be the case. But somebody dropped the ball. And, now it looks like a great coaching story or a great whatever. But it's just hard. You look at Bo Nix. Bo Nix took about 6 years to progress. Jaden Daniels. To think that from when he started to where he is now, and all it took was a benching for the USF game, no, don't believe it. Of course he's grown over the year. Crosey's gotten better. But the amount of growth that everybody's saying that he did, I think it was already there. I think most of it was there. I think somewhere down the line they figured out how to get it out of him better than they were in spring and in the fall camps. But I still believe, either I don't know if it was Reese, I don't know if it was Saban at some point in time, dropped the ball, or some kind of whatever technique they were using to try to make him better, dropped the ball somewhere. What do you think about that?
Well, I've told this story a couple of times. So, this happened, okay? So, at the beginning of the season, and I'm talking like in August, going into the season, they actually, and I'm saying the coaching staff, from what I understand, was heavily broken up, and the majority wanted Dylan Lonergan to be the starter. Okay, Dylan Lonergan, not Tyler Buckner, not Ty Simpson, Dylan Lonergan. True story. And the coaches were pushing for it. Some of the coaches were pushing for it. there was one coach that was adamant and did the whole override to keep Jalen Milroe as a starter, and that was Coach Saban. Seriously. So that game against South Florida was to show the other coaches, and I think probably just, his staff internally, and I don't think he cares what the fans think at all. But I think to show, this is where we are without Jalen Milroe. And I think after that, kind of the transformation and then kind of unleashing and taking off the handcuffs or Tommy Rees kind of finding his rhythm really transformed. And that's kind of been the catalyst, along with Jalen Milroe now playing with the chip on his shoulder, because it's a really, think about it. You take it away from him. And from what I understand, Jalen Milroe was clearly upset with not being the starter, but it was all kind of by design. But the one coach that it was like adamant about Jalen Milroe starting and being the guy was Coach Saban. So clearly he's, coached a lot of football. He's seen this. Maybe he forecasted it.
That's why he's the GOAT.
Exactly.
That's why he's the GOAT.
So, yeah.
Yes. As I said, I just can't. Again, as I said, I believe he grew. I believe he got better.
Yeah.
But again, if we go from the beginning where he was, when everybody was claiming to be, to now he's Heisman candidate type. If you just think about it in the Auburn game, that was a dime he put there. He didn't throw it out of bounds.
Yeah.
It didn't get underthrown. It was right. You just think of some of the throws he has made this year, and some of the runs he has made this year.
And what they say about that 4th and 31.
He's played incredible.
That 4th and 31, I think a lot of people, at first it was like, oh, yeah, it was a Hail Mary. And then Jalen Milroe was like, actually, that was a designed play. Like and I think Coach Saban said that as well. It's like we actually practice that play every day. It's like a 4th and 31, game's on the line, and like go out and throw an absolute laser. So you're right. That's one of probably one of the best plays of all of college football this entire year. And just like I'm saying, I don't even think that we've seen his best game yet. Will it come against Michigan? Will it come, if Alabama makes the national? I don't know, but this guy, Michigan has not seen offense with this amount of weapons. And I get it. Ohio State has some really good wide receivers, but Jalen Milroe and Kyle McCord are completely two different quarterbacks. And then Penn State, that was probably the other difficult game that they played. I guess Maryland maybe, but this is a whole different caliber. And I think Michigan is going to be really good, and I think it is going to be really physical. And Jim Harbaugh, he has this team undefeated, and they're playing also with the chip on their shoulder, considering what they went through as a team. So there's so many great storylines leading up to the Rose Bowl. But I think the X factor when you come into this game, Jalen Milroe, Alabama's defensive secondary, and then Will Riker being pissed off and hitting like a 55-yard field goal, proving that he is the true Lou Garza Award winner.
Right. I think, as you say, Milroe's the X factor. I think it's just one thing he just needs to prove. And I feel he needs to prove on, and it's not really something to improve on, but just he has to do it. The check down. He has to get more guys involved. There's a lot of times, CJ is sitting there wide open.
Yeah.
There's a point in time you just got to give him the ball just to keep these guys active and wanting to run and wanting to block sometimes. And I think once he understands, as Saban talks about, being that point guard, sometimes you give the big man a dunk from the fast break just to keep him rebounding, just to keep him playing defense. Yeah. Sometimes you got to give these guys a 5 or 7 yard pass just to keep them involved in a game. Yep. And I understand that you're hitting them down the field, but you have to keep guys involved. And once he gets that part, hey, it's over for everybody. This year going into next year, I was kind of, worried about the scheduling. They're going to have some tough games. I think they're going to be okay. But again, as I say, thanks for the slight insight about who was adamant about wanting to play and all that. But I always feel there was some kind of backstory or something that was going on where somebody dropped the ball with Jalen Milroe, because this type of growth just doesn't happen in 10 games.
Yeah.
And he wasn't that bad in the Texas game. He passed for like 250. He threw 2 interceptions. He wasn't even that bad in the Texas game.
I think a lot of people forget, too. They came back and took the lead on Texas before Texas scored whatever it was, 14 points in the fourth quarter or whatever. So, they did come back and take the lead against Texas. So, there's that as well. But, I appreciate you calling on the back end of the show. Calling anytime. I appreciate your feedback. It's always good to catch up with you.
I appreciate it.
Calling in from Chicago.
All right, go get your voice back and have a good weekend.
All right, man. Take it easy. See ya. All right. If I didn't get to you today, I got some more callers in line. I went for 2 hours today. I tried to get everybody involved in the show. So if I didn't get to you today, I will be on line tomorrow from 9 a.m. To 10 a.m. Central Time, or I might go a little bit longer, kind of depending how we're feeling. But usually the show is from 9 to 10 a.m. Central Time. I take calls. Tomorrow I'm going to have Ty Hayes along with me, and we will chop it up about college football. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. I really appreciate the support and the contributions, whether that's a super chat or a simple thumbs up. Everything goes a long way right here at Bama Football on YouTube. We got an action-packed December coming your way as we gear you up for more recruiting news leading up to signing day, which is next Wednesday, and then Alabama will take off to Pasadena. I will be following the team, reporting from Pasadena as Alabama gears up for the Rose Bowl against the Michigan Wolverines. Hit the thumbs up, like, subscribe. Stay tuned as we come to you with more videos, whether that's breaking news, YouTube Shorts, live shows like this, right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Have a nice day.